Defy Life. It's more than just about some football. All my sports teams off season go through withdrawals, 30 minutes to tip off. Like Rakim was saying, we got this, give me ear problems. Sound like thunder and rain. I'm excited that you came on this journey with 3 of my friends. Defy life till we die and grow wings. Just a different perspective. Haters in every direction. Refuse to live my life based off your projections. Their expectations are lazy. My expectations are crazy. My lady defies me. Goose, Brown, Brady, Jordan, LeBron, Aaron, Bonds, Mayweather, Ali Foreman. You get the picture, greatest ever born. I attack without warning. This is not around the horn. Them other shows whack, a lot of yawning. You really want to be the best, got to pay the price. We make winning look easy. Welcome to Defy Life. Defy Life.
Welcome to the Defy Life Podcast, brought to you by our friends at Bud Bottles, home of the Bud Bottle and the Bud Freshener. Please visit budbottles.com for your odor eliminating needs. You can listen to the Defy Life Podcast anywhere your favorite podcasts are available. Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, etc., etc. As always, remember to follow, subscribe, like, and drop us a comment whenever you listen. And you can follow us on social media platforms at GoDefyLife. This is episode 70 of the Defy Life Podcast. I am your host, J.R. Glymph, joined as always by wonderful co-hosts Keyonne Small, Alvin, Glymph, Gerald, Hedrick. How's it going today, Keyonne?
Great, my man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. 70 episodes in, so I'm feeling good right now. Yeah, man. Right. Al, how's it going, man?
This is episode number 70. That was the year I was born.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm feeling that right there.
1970-something.
1970-something. Mm-hmm. It's all good, man. Feeling good, in a great place. Just good to be on this show and enjoy it every week. Chopping it up. Looking forward to it.
G Money, how's it going, sir?
Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good night. It's another 2 for Tuesday. Another Defy Life Tuesday. You already know what I'm gonna say, man. If you're not messing with Defy Life, man, what is your life about?
No doubt. Exactly. As usual, Thomas Stevens will be joining us whenever the hell he feels like it. So we will, and he's probably exactly. He's probably gonna be here about 7-8 minutes before he even lets us know he's here, just so he can kind of linger, check out the vibe, lurk a little bit, kind of fill us out, and then call us out on shit that he heard while he wasn't talking. So we'll talk to you soon, Thomas Stevens. Well, yeah, man.
Or 3 minutes left in the show. You know.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Just in time to complain about trivia. What you mean I ain't win? So, yeah.
The shitty question.
Exactly. Keyonne,
hey Al, I got my dub last week, baby.
Oh yeah.
Did you? Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. How you sneaking when I'm not in there? I ain't mad at you. Get it while you can, bro, man. But I'm coming back for it.
Oh man, I would like to say that
I got the crown right now.
Yeah, I would like to say that I brushed up on the Bible for this week. But I was too busy. I was too busy pushing Defy Life stuff. So I was like, Jesus, you gotta wait. So yeah, so next week for you, Jesus. Me and you'll get together. But yeah, as usual, another lovely day here. We've been saying
speaking of Defy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, what'd you say, G?
I was gonna say, speaking of Defy Life stuff, man, what we got on tap?
Man, all right, so I've been saying for a couple weeks that we're gonna do some more lighthearted stuff on the news tidbits before we jump into the meat of the show. And we usually do 2 news tidbits. So I'm sorry again. Thanks to Gerald Hedrick, Gerald Hedrick Jr., by the way. We weren't able to give you people or give ourselves a lighthearted topic. We go into some heavy shit, but we're only going to do 1. We're not going to do 2 this week before we get mad and start talking to our listeners any kind of way before they ask us some questions. So first and only news tidbit of this week. Gerald Hedrick, you brought this up, so I'll start with you. So Florida man Michael Draker, who we talked about a couple weeks ago, who killed a man by the name of Marquise McLaughlin in Florida. And of course, everybody knows the story by now. You should. McLaughlin and his girlfriend pull up to a gas station to make a quick run inside. She stays in the car. McLaughlin and his 5-year-old son get out to go into the store. A man walks up to the car and starts berating his girl, McLaughlin's girl, for parking in a handicap spot. McLaughlin comes out, sees this guy, yelling, screaming at his girl, and he pushes him. Dude falls on the ground, pulls out a gun and shoots him, kills him on the spot. Well, he dies in the hospital. Of course, it's Florida. So, of course, standing your ground was the defense of Mr. Draker. The sheriff refused to charge him, and now the state prosecutors stepped in and charged him with manslaughter. So, Gerald, what are your thoughts on this? Right move, and I'm sure everybody thinks it's the right move, but I'll ask you this. What do you think is the motivation behind actually charging him now?
If you think back to the show and you've been keeping track of this report, so we kind of left it off with the sheriff. The sheriff decided not to pursue charges after his investigation. And I remember we did say now it's kind of up to the state prosecutor to decide, if there was the possibility of a crime committed. So if you think about the law at the state level, when they start to convene these grand juries and they start to look at the evidence, they're looking at, is there a possibility that you committed a crime? If the answer is yes, typically some charges are going to come down, or a charge that they think they can prove is going to come down, because nobody likes to lose. So, I know there was a lot of public outcry for, something to be done, or for this case to be examined even more. But I think that, just talking from a law standpoint, prosecutors don't usually press charges unless there's some charge to be pressed. So I think while they did take into consideration some of the public outcry, if you kind of review the footage and in my opinion, it'll be a tough case to prove under the merit of the law, just because the defendant or the shooter in the case, and once again, I'm just talking about the law. I'm not taking into account black or white or the specifics. I'm just talking about the merit of the law. You don't have to retreat. You don't have to, but you do have to kind of prove that you are in a reasonable fear of your life. So there, is there enough video evidence of the guy, backing up and backing away from the shooter? Probably, but I am very relieved to see that charges were pressed. I'm not so enthusiastic about, I have limited enthusiasm for an actual conviction of any sort. But we'll see. But I am very, very relieved to see that the state prosecutor decided to do, in my opinion, is the right thing and go forward with some charges.
No doubt. Al, I know you've been very outspoken on the stand your ground law, as we all have, but you more so. Also, in the background of Michael Drecker is, it's come out now that he has 3 separate incidents of either pulling guns on people in traffic, doing road rage incidents, or threatening other drivers for the same reason, parking in handicapped spots, and threatening, saying, "I will shoot you." So he has a history of this kind of behavior. I think is this indicative of what you've talked about before, where this law just gives people who want to use the defense, does it kind of give them a kind of outlaw right to kind of just wield guns all willy-nilly and shoot people?
When people aren't held accountable, hopefully this man will be. You know what I mean? I think many people, unfortunately, do look at stand your ground as here's my excuse to shoot somebody and kill somebody, unfortunately. I think, though, that what I want out of my law enforcement, out of my government, is those people and this person right here, in this particular case, needs to be held responsible just based on the evidence and what I see. And to me, what he might have done the Tuesday before, the hour before, it's not even under consideration as far as I'm concerned. It's just enough what I see in the video where the victim was taking 2 to 3 steps back, and when the guy sees the man going for his gun, he starts retreating. Not even once the gun is pulling out, he starts to retreat before, as the man is going for his gun, whatever's in his pocket. He sees him going for something, and he starts to retreat. I was watching the video earlier tonight. It's crazy because he pushes him down and then takes a step towards the dude aggressively. So I think, as I look at it, it's like, you know what? I can understand somebody defending themselves when you're on the ground, someone push you to the ground, and they are aggressively stepping towards you. But if you watch the video, as soon as he starts going for something in his pocket, dude starts retreating. And then at that point, to me, you don't have the right to defend yourself because this man is retreating. And that's where my whole point of looking at this video is, if you're telling me that it is legal for this act to happen, we we in the wrong place. This should not rock.
Al, is the in your opinion, is the video like, is it bang bang or is it like push down? And I'm having a hard time. Well, let me get your thoughts. Is to you, is it bang? Is it like bang? You know how in sports you say it's a bang bang play. Mm-hmm. Is it like a bang bang play, or is it like there's obviously some time for Mr. Strucker to kind of think about, you know, is this a reaction, or is he?
It depends if you white or black, basically.
I think
that's what it's going to come down to.
I think it's a bang bang play, but I think enough time happens to where, as far as I'm concerned, I'm willing to hold that person accountable for him pulling that trigger. It happened fast. To me, that was fast. But nah, if you pull that trigger, you need to pay for that.
Now, you know what I saw, or what I think the prosecutor is going to put a jury together that could see. I could see Mr. The gentleman, forget his name now, the black guy, McLaughlin, reach for his pants. When Draco fell on the ground, I see he reached for his pants. Now, being a black man, I see he's pulling his pants up because his pants sagging.
That's what I saw.
But to a white person, he could have been going for a weapon. Now, in that split second, do you going to wait and see, or you going to pull out your gun and you going to let fire? You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's going to come down to race again, and what they're going to do. They're going to go back in McLaughlin's history, just like they did with Trayvon Martin. They're showing the pictures with the gold teeth, and I'm surprised ain't nothing come out yet. He's ever been arrested, or like you're going to start seeing this stuff coming out. As soon as Draco gets a lawyer, and maybe with Zimmerman, same kind of thing. You start seeing these, $50,000, $70,000, $80,000 donations starts coming in from all around the country.
Oh, yeah, that's coming.
You know what I'm saying? So all this stuff, McLaughlin was arrested 10 years ago for whatever. He has pictures with him, and you know what I'm saying? So they're going to muddy his attitude, and by the time that jury sits down, it's going to be, white versus black. You know what I'm saying? This fact. We've seen this story 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and which is why I asked, the motivation behind even pressing charges, right? Because a lot of the reason George Zimmerman was even charged in the Trayvon Martin case was because of public outcry, and because the sheriffs don't want to charge these people who claim self-defense and stand your grounds, because if these people they feel they're wrongfully convicted, they can come back and personally sue law enforcement. or the people involved in law enforcement. So they are motivated not to charge these people. So same thing could happen here. It's why the sheriff was so hesitant to press charges and leave it up to the DA. Is because they, don't want to press those charges because they don't want to be held liable. So they may not have charged, Michael Draker, and with the motivation that he actually did something wrong. It may just feel like they're buying kind of cool points at this right now. But it's going to be interesting to see. But you're right, Keyonne. Eventually, we have all been programmed to see this in black and white. And the majority of people are going to see this in black and white.
And they're going to, his defense lawyer is going to play it up. And another thing, Jay, you said they can be personally sued. I think it has more to do with the sheriff is elected. I don't know what this area is, but if this is a white area that believes in stand your ground or whatever, he could end up losing his job. Yeah. So I actually think that the DA for the Trayvon Martin case, they didn't want to press charges against Zimmerman. They did it because of the public outcry. And you see that the head DA never tried the case. Yeah. A woman and I think it was an all woman jury. Maybe misquoting this, but it was at least 10 women on that jury. At least 10. I believe it was all women. I'll look it up. But there was a woman DA, and she did not try the case. Like a lot of the pundits on television was like, why didn't she try the case? Why didn't she appeal to the women? Because she never wanted to press charges to begin with. She just did it. And after they lost, she kind of stood there and went, we did the best we could. So Robert McCullough in St. Louis just got voted out. Yeah. This is like in a black people's favor by Wesley Bell, which is a good thing. But I guess what I'm saying is the law is politics. At the highest level, the DAs, prosecutors, it's about the community. So however the community feels is right. What the community feels is wrong.
Yeah, and in that particular community, yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys this. And I don't want to get too deep into this, but I think maybe let me just ask this question. Maybe we can parking lot it or something. But I just because I have the thought struck me. That so the shooter's been charged with manslaughter, like you killed someone but you didn't intend to kill them, or the action that you took resulted in another human's death, and you didn't plan that. But let me ask you a sinister question, because Jay made a good point. This guy's been, so if you look at the theme of things about people riling up altercations with people and law enforcement and things like that. So what if, and the thought has struck me, what if this guy in his previous attempts is looking for an altercation, and the guy he finally gets a reason. This is his give me a reason moment, right? So he's actually riding around looking for his give me a reason moment. So I have thoughts of why it was so bang bang, right? This may very well have been premeditated to the point of he's waiting for an altercation. He's waiting for that physical contact to where he can finally, react and get him one.
As fast as he reacted that way, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked.
You're using logic, but logic's not going to matter. It's just going to come down to when they paint Mr. McLaughlin as this big black guy that just ran up to this white guy. I pushed him on the ground. He's been arrested for this, and that. And they're going to, logic, because we can go back to the Trayvon Martin thing as a blueprint. Logically, there's no way you find him Zimmerman not guilty. No way. But they did. So it's this thing, all his previous arrests, it doesn't matter. I would be shocked if they find him guilty. It's not impossible, but I would be shocked. And again, the Zimmerman thing was all woman jury. I just checked. So that's that. But it's going to be down to that community and who they can get on that jury. They're probably going to want women and probably going to want white women. the prosecution. The defense.
I think when you're talking about the standard, and this is the same thing with police officers. If the standard is this victim trying to claim that they feared for their life, that's what they felt.
Yep.
Like, who, really, how can you disprove what this person felt? I mean, so it's like that whole, to me,
and it's written that way.
Weakness of it.
It's written that way for a reason.
Get away with it.
Yeah. It's written that way for a purpose. That's the point.
Yeah, but but then to Gerald's point, I mean, I get what you're saying exactly. I mean, this guy, he absolutely saw himself as some kind of traffic vigilante, right? Where he spots people parking in handicapped spots.
Who does that?
Exactly. That's what I'm. Yeah. So one, it makes you question his mental state. One, not necessarily saying he's mentally ill, but saying, like, how miserable do you have to be to go around, like, people park in handicap spots? Because that happens.
And you toting. And
toting. And so we talked about this before, where people calling on black folks for doing nothing, right? Because they hope that this is the time that I hit the jackpot and I get lucky and I get a crazy cop to come up here and get this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're basically just spinning that wheel, hoping that it lands on crazy cop, right? And this is exactly what Michael Draker did. Is if you look at his history, he's spinning that wheel, hoping I get somebody to react, so I can be judge and jury in this moment and execute.
So,
I think Jay, that's what I'm scared of. I thought
there was a case in I want to say the 80s in New York called, and the vigilante dude was Bernard Getz.
Yeah,
Bernard Getz. Yeah,
and Bernard Getz was on the subway, basically itching for somebody to step to him, and had a gun. Guys approached him, and if I remember correctly, he claimed they were trying to rob him, but I really think they just asked for money or something, and he shot him. So it did bring back some real bad memories.
But he ended up defending himself in court. And,
he made a slight miscalculation.
Yeah.
But there was we got to call out the guy that went to jail for shooting Jordan Davison in Jacksonville, Florida. The loud music. He also claimed he was scared for his life.
Yeah.
I'm looking for his name. I can't find him, but he went to prison.
Yeah.
So we it's not all one way, but it's mostly one way.
Right. I mean, the fact that we can like ramble on about cases where it's gone one way, and we have to think about, there was that one case.
Yeah, that was that one time.
Right. But so and even then they followed your game plan. You pointed out, Keyonne, they painted every speck of dirt that Jordan Davison and his friends that were in the car with him, as well as saying that they drove away and threw a shotgun out the window. Like they pulled out all kinds of crazy stunts on that one. But it was so crazy that it was just unbelievable.
And it's Michael David Dunn. Is the shooter's name.
Yeah.
But I hope they get a good.
Do either of you guys carry?
I'm about to. I've actually thinking about this in the last few weeks, but I'm about to. I just worry about my little boy. But I'm working that. Yeah.
Because
I don't carry personally. No.
Oh, I'm asking because I do.
Yeah.
And most people that do, in most states, you have to take defense courses, and you have to take carrying. I can say from personal experience that I may be wrong, but in my personal experience, carrying actually makes you even more aware than every element of your surroundings, right? Because you're assessing threats, and you're looking at this information and that information. You're because when you're carrying, any situation can be like a life or death situation. If someone sees you and they go for it, immediately you're in a fight for your life. So it's my opinion it's just my opinion that this guy walking around looking for his, someone to start an argument with while he's carrying even further perpetuates like the fact that I think this may have been a premeditated type of, maybe not the act itself, the shooting itself, but the scenario was a premeditated scenario. Just because you are very, very aware when you're carrying.
Let me tell a quick story to corroborate your point. This is about 7 months ago. In February, I went to this big cookout. It wasn't a cookout. It was like a thing at the park with like music, but a festival sort of. Like somebody rented out a park and then charged people to get in. It was kind of one of this hood stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I went there with my homeboy. My homeboy carries. He gun on him. And so I see this dude that owed me money. And I hadn't seen him in like years. I loaned him money and he disappeared. So I ran up to the dude, my fist balled up. I was like, where the fuck my money at? Like I was, looking crazy. He started running. And I just started laughing. And I'm not it's messed up that I loaned you this money and I don't hear from you. I thought you was my friend, whatever. So I shook his hand. He was just we laughing, blah, blah. So we walking away. And my homeboy we got the gun on him. He was like, Keyonne, how do you know that dude didn't have a gun on him and just would have shot you right there? And it's like I'm not even thinking that way. But it's like to Gerald's point, he has a gun on him at that time, and it's like so he's thinking life
what would
and
happen
death.
if somebody ran up on me like that?
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even. That's not even in my. But it could have happened that way. So it's like to Gerald's point that when you have that weapon on you, that your mentality is a little different than those that don't. Like I'm thinking everything's whatever, and you thinking life or death. So it's,
which is exactly why I don't carry. And this is a different conversation, but I'm a big believer in energy and thoughts are powerful. So that same thought process, when you put those thoughts out that anything could be a life or death situation, and then when you're that aware and you're putting those thoughts out there, it draws that kind of energy, which is why I refuse to carry personally. So.
You think something will happen because you have a gun on? Like you're going to draw the energy, negative energy. You're going to draw negative. I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think you can attract that energy. What you put out is what you get in return, right? So with that mindset, that always aware that I have, a weapon on me, I'm putting that out there. And with those thoughts that everything I do can be a life or death situation, I'm putting those thoughts out there. Thoughts are powerful. I don't know if y'all, see it the way I see it, but I see evidence of it all the time, including stuff like Defy Life. So that's just my personal feelings on it. That's why I don't carry. And then it's funny, Al, when we were at my brother-in-law's birthday party the other weekend. One of our cousins was there, and I dapped him up, standing beside him, and he bumped into me, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's carrying." And my mind frame totally switched. It's just the thoughts out there, knowing that there's a gun right here. It's just putting that energy out there. That's why I don't carry.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I don't agree with that one. But I hear you though. I don't say you're wrong. I just don't. I think sometimes things just happen, and I just hate to be in the position I can't do nothing.
Yeah,
and someone breaks it.
Yeah, and it's not just like that with guns to me. It's with everything. I wake up every morning and I have this thing I call 10 before 10. Well, I do 10 things for me before 10 o'clock. And that's one of those things. I put thoughts out, and that's including thoughts about Defy Life. And 100% of the time, it may not be exact, but that same kind of energy comes back to me throughout the day. Right. That's just my personal beliefs on it, is why I refuse to carry. And I just think as a people, we've gotten so detached from our inner selves that we look outwardly for protection. We look outwardly for peace and outwardly for peace of mind when it's all within us, which is why so many people carry, is because we look outwardly to protect ourselves when it don't have to be that way.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing that got Biggie killed. But It's all about the energy.
No.
All about, I don't carry bodyguards because, I don't.
Because Big E wasn't even conversation. He wasn't his
That's a deep combo. Carrying is a deep combo.
Yeah, but that's a different conversation. But yeah, that's just me. That's why I don't.
I ain't saying you wrong. I just it's cool. I ain't saying, oh, that's crazy. Like we talking about Matt Ryan or something where I'm a little more passionate. But
that's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I carry some, but I don't feel attacked or threatened at all by Jay's comments. Like I respect pain.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not
shoot me,
stomping
please.
on this. I'm not stomping on this one.
No. And I definitely respect people's right to carry. I don't have any problem.
You better.
Just like I don't know. With that mind frame, I usually find myself out of those kind of situations.
But let me say this: I can tell you, I have a lot more respect for people on the road because you just I don't do the middle finger. I don't, you gotta respect people in the South, man. I don't care if that white or black man or whoever is 5 foot nothing and 100 and nothing pounds. Yeah. That dude could be having a gun on him. You know what I'm saying? Or a woman or whatever. So it's like it's a respect in the South that I don't think people from other regions necessarily even understand. But it's a lot of it's that you don't know who got a gun.
Yeah, a lot of it is that.
Yeah.
Oh. It's a damn shame we got to be worried about somebody carrying a gun. Give somebody some respect. Honestly,
I mean, you can it or not, but it's something that be in your mind. I don't see you gonna cut somebody out because you stepped on my shoe or you cut me off in traffic. That's not the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't do that anyway.
Yeah. I think you give respect to us. So for me, like I give respect to everyone. I give space to everyone. And every time you see me out, I'm not carrying, but I do carry. And my only point is when I am carrying, I am so aware of everything, just because I'm paying attention to everything. And I am anyway. But when I'm carrying, I go the extra mile to make sure I'm giving people respect and space and being kind and courteous and trying to diffuse any situation. Like I'm the opposite from I'm the opposite from what a lot of people see, just because I don't believe that every situation you get into has to result in you pulling your weapon. Because the first thing they teach you is if you pull your weapon, you better be like if I pull my weapon, it is not to intimidate you. If you put me in a situation where I feel I have to pull my weapon, you might get a double tap. So it's just but I do everything in my power to. I feel like I do everything in my power to avoid any. I mean, I've been carrying for years, and I've never had a situation where I've had to pull a weapon. Most people don't even know I have a weapon. It's just in that realm of if anything does happen, and I need to physically protect the people that I'm with or myself from someone else that has ill intent towards me, I can do it.
Let me say one more thing on this. Like, my sister dated this dude who's like 6'4", 300 pounds, judo, and he was like, "Man, I'm scared to fight because I know what I could do to a nigga." And so whenever I get into a confrontation with somebody, I'm looking at them saying, "Do they know more than I know?" And this nigga was, you know what I'm saying? So it's that kind of thinking. Whether it's your physical abilities can do that to someone or with a weapon. It's like when you got that on you, you look at everybody else like you don't even know. You pull out your gun and they could pull out a gun bigger than yours or something, or it's life or death. It's just a matter of respect, however you view it. I look at things that way, but you may not. But either way, there's a respect here in the South that's different than in other regions. I have it for my own reasons, but everyone I think else has it too. In New York, you get the fuck yous and all, talking crazy. And Yeah.
And I'll keep right on walking.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess we're gonna like. I'm not worried about Gerald at the front of Buffalo Wild Wings, like raising his shirt.
Oh God. Teenager shit.
No, man. No.
Do we have a problem? Oh man, yeah, I don't know. To each his own.
Each his own.
To each his own.
And
True deep.
Yeah, and in a more apropos sense, live and let live. So,
and we all agree that on the text that Mr. McLaughlin could have handled that a little better, right?
Definitely.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yes, I do. And but I will say, from the outside looking in, it's easy to say that. All right, not being in that moment. I mean, we've all been in situations when we're heated and we look back and say, "I could have handled that better." So, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're agreeing.
Yeah, I'm not saying I might.
He deserved to die.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
But I myself personally
might not have acted that way.
Right. I'm not walking up on that situation and pushing the guy down.
That's what I'm.
Either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm walking up trying to figure out like what's going on with you two.
Yeah.
So Al, I agree with you completely. I'm not handling that situation like that. I don't care how upset I am. Like I'm,
Yeah. So I don't know. How about some listener questions? Man, somebody give us some good news. We're gonna find some good news next week. Listener questions, man. First one, Keyonne, I'll start with you. From Wade in Fairburn, Georgia, out in Al's country.
A local.
Yeah.
Word. What's up, Fairburn?
How can college football make it fairer for smaller schools to get a chance at getting into the playoffs? Keyonne, what are your thoughts?
Fuck them smaller schools.
Wow.
That's my answer. We ain't trying to make it fair. You're trying to get the best teams in it. I mean, you want to fair, go ride a roller coaster. If you want to play football, then you play football. All right.
Okay.
Now, if you want to get the teams that are deserving, that have like you're undefeated and you're blowing people out left and right, and you end up 6th in the country, they got to expand the playoffs a little bit. You know what I mean? But fuck fair. That's my answer.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go, Wade. I hope that answers your question. Al, what do you think? Outside of fuck fair, what do you think?
Fuck fair, right? But I think I don't think the public wants it, honestly. I think the answer to answer his question, how could they do it? They'd have to expand the playoff. They'd have to probably set a slot for a small team, a middle team, and a middle-sized team like that. They'd have to really just say, we're going to designate one of these slots to give these guys an opportunity. That's how they could do it. But the reality is, I think the way football is, you don't see a lot of competitive football games where the talent is that different. And, not to say it would be like that in every case, but I think the public's perception is that. And they just want the best 4 teams, 8 teams, 6 teams, whatever. And whether it is Fairbairn State or not, I don't think they give a damn. We just want the best college football teams. That's all.
Let me jump like the UCF for last year. I maybe this is what he was trying to ask.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The undefeated team. Yeah. They got to expand the playoffs. It's like don't know. And ain't gonna see that UCF this year because everybody going to the league. Their best players. It's like it's kind of sad that way.
But I mean, somebody else could be UCF. There's a UCF every year.
Yeah,
every year.
Joe, what do you think?
I was actually going to bring up the UCF thing. So they, I don't think
the real national champion.
I know they went undefeated last year, and I don't think they've lost. I don't think that the program itself has lost a game in a while. Which will be awesome because our home opener, the Tar Heels, is against them. So I'll be there, and we'll see what we can do with them. But
enough players to play.
We'll see.
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
see.
sneakers.
I may throw on a Tar Heel jersey and sneak on out there. We'll see.
we know the student session gonna be Jordan out.
Oh yeah. But I agree with Keyonne, man. Like, fuck fair. Like, college. At the end of the day, college sports, especially college football, is about the almighty dollar, as is with most things in a capitalist society. Most people don't want to see Middle Tennessee in the Final Four bracket. Is it a feel good story? In basketball, it's a little bit different because so many teams make it. But man, when you talk about that almighty dollar, man, people want to see those Notre Dame. They want to see Texas. They want to see Ohio State. They want to see Clemson. They want to see, Florida. They want to see Alabama. That's just how it is. So and those committees, as flawed as they are, I think they try to do a good job of getting the best four teams. But like you said, every year somebody gets snubbed. I remember when it was just the BCS. It was just two schools. Like, every year somebody got snubbed. Now it's four schools. Every year somebody gets snubbed. Even in basketball, the field's 68 teams. Every year somebody still gets snubbed. So you could expand, Keyonne. You could expand and expand and expand and expand.
Yeah, everybody can.
And until you have a system where, like, someone's always going to feel like they get snubbed. So for now, I'm on the fuck fair bandwagon. Like, keep doing what you're doing. And then how many college football games do, you get to the point where these teams are playing, now they used to play 11 games. Now they're playing up to 14, 15. So, how many games do you want these kids to be playing? So, there's a lot of other politics involved. But for now, I'm on the fuck fair bandwagon.
Yeah, we can get it to 6 or 8.
I don't know. Like, all right, so I could buy into what y'all are saying if UCF, like, for instance, just we talking about them, if they went into that bowl game against Auburn last year and got the shit beat out of them. They beat the shit out of Auburn in that bowl game, so they belonged. Like,
yes, they did.
So it's not like there's some feel good story. They were a good fucking team.
Yeah.
So it's like, they showed that they belong with that caliber of a program, at least for last year.
Do you think they would have went undefeated in the SEC?
No.
That's not a fair question.
Alabama don't go undefeated in the SEC.
Yeah.
It's like, so I think that's neither here nor there. But I think one solution will get rid of all this shit, right?
What, longer playoff?
Nope.
Be a bigger playoff?
You ain't even got to expand. And it's the worst thing. I hate this part of college football more than anything.
I know what you're going to say.
What?
Talking about the out of conference play?
Nope.
Oh, shit, I don't know then.
Preseason polls. Get rid of preseason polls. This shit would be out.
Why you say that? Yeah.
You got what you think everybody's going to be ranked, and then you have UCF like 73rd. They never have a chance to get into the top 4. If you don't start rankings until after week 5, then you know what you're ranking.
Yeah.
All right, and then it gives those. It doesn't give an excuse for that committee to say, you know what, we're gonna leave this little dog out here and just make them feel good by putting them 5th, but we're gonna never let them in, right? But if you wait till after week 5 to even start your rankings, you have no reason to, like, at least you know what your starting point is. You get what I'm saying? I think that would alleviate a whole lot. I ain't saying it will fix everything. I did just say that, but I don't mean that. But this would alleviate a lot of that shit.
Because they're ranked 23rd right now.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's 23rd based off of what they did last year.
Yeah.
They say that, I mean, other things go into that, like, recruiting classes, who you lose and all that. But anyway, they say that, because when's the first, so the rankings, the AP polls, all that stuff is one thing. And they claim that that's only factored in part.
Yeah. The committee's supposed to,
because the committee, the first top 4 rankings don't come out till like week 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to some extent, they say they're
we know
already
that.
doing.
You even saying it like you don't believe
Exactly,
it.
yeah.
I mean,
Doesn't.
I'm just saying what they say. I'm not saying if it's true or not because I don't know. I'm not in the room.
It's BCS. Minus the C. But but even if they just did that, like just did away, I know why they don't. But if they just did away with rankings and just start the top 4 rankings, the playoff rankings at week 7, just do away with the ranking. But I know they're not because people like lists and people like having told. Yeah, people like being told what's good and what's not. Fans are stupid. We get it. Not our fans, but other fans. So I get it. Same reason we like triple doubles in basketball because they're good round numbers and we're told that they mean something but so we've been dictated to what's important. So rankings are important to those people who make them important. But if they just didn't do rankings and just waited until after week 7 and picked the best 4 teams, that would solve a lot of this shit. And it would be fair.
Think expanding the playoffs is more doable, I think, and that's a high. But I think no polls is even higher. You know what I mean? I think expanding the playoffs would clear up more it will get to the same place. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I just think that's more realistic. You know what I mean? Even though that's I know it's they're fighting it, but I think that's more realistic. And I think when you get 6 teams, kind of like what Gerald you was talking about, the 69th team, they don't got an argument, bro. The 69th team is they'll get bounced anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, actually,
but
they do because we just talked about UCF. They ranked 23rd and they beat the shit out of Auburn.
No. I'm talking about the 69th team in college basketball.
I know that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like the playoffs last year. Where was UCF ranked in the playoff rankings?
Oh, I just looked at it. They were 6, I think.
I think they were 5th, 6th. Yeah.
Yeah. So they
6.
So they was 6th, right?
Yeah.
So if we had 6 teams, you don't think the team who was 7th?
Wisconsin.
Who won the Big Ten? You don't think they would have had a legitimate gripe?
They lost in the Big Ten championship though.
Yeah, they lost in the Big Ten. Okay.
I don't think they would have had as much of a gripe. So check it, right? When we had 2 teams, I think the way it used to be, and I'm drawing all this together, you possibly finish totally defeated, and not get an opportunity with the 2 teams, the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now that can't really happen anymore. But you got the 5th team and the 6th team beef. What I'm trying to say is, Wisconsin could have possibly had a beef, but it would not have been as legitimate. Because I
get the lower you go, the less your beef. I get that.
Yeah.
Thank
you for not making me have to argue this. I was about to have to go in.
I'm just. But my thing is to Gerald's point. How many games you want these kids to play? If you start expanding, I'm just saying. Without having to expand and having these kids playing NFL schedules,
and you're not paying them, all right.
Yeah, and they are, and half of them, if they're not in the national championship game, half of them skipping their bowl games anyway to get ready for the draft now. So,
right,
it's how important is that? And that's another thing. You can just get rid of the bowl games, outside of
that's too much money. You talking people stuff?
Yeah, that's what that ain't happening. But so that's what I'm saying. Without playing more games and risking further strife from the players, that's what I'm saying. It's
that's fair.
But yeah.
So you just want to just leave it at 4 and be done with it?
I'm cool with expanding but then to me with that, a lot of other stuff needs to happen. If you expand, I think you mentioned out of conference play. I think a non-conference game has to be taken away. But then it's like a trickle down effect on what happens if you expand, because I don't think they need to play more games. They already playing 14 games now. Whoever goes to the national championship is playing 14, 15 games. It used to be these dudes get to the NFL and they're wait, this rookie wall. Nah, they playing the NFL schedule already.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was hearing that about some of why those a lot of those Alabama running backs didn't pan out because they got beat up in college.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I mean, between practicing against the best defense in the nation every day, playing these long seasons,
yeah. That's why I said it used to be 11 games, man. Now the Power 5 conferences, everybody's got to conference championship, and everybody's got a. I mean, it's these guys they're playing ball, man.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I don't know. Hope we have answered your question, Wade. I'm all for fair, but Gerald and Keyonne, you gotta talk to these dudes. I don't know.
No.
Meet them in the parking lot somewhere. Talk to them. Fuck Fairburn is what they said. Our next question is from Mario, of all places, Auburn, Alabama. Which NFL injury will be the most devastating to their team? Al, what do you think?
In the whole league?
In the whole league. One person gets hurt, which would be the worst for their team. So we know it's got to be a quarterback, probably, right?
Right. So I gotta go with Rodgers. I mean, I think we had this debate, NFL last year.
Yeah.
I think going into the season, I think we, Beckham or Rodgers, I think is where we was going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Rodgers proved that, honestly, it's such a different team. I'm going with Rodgers, even though they played okay with their backup. I'm going with Rodgers.
Okay. All right. Now, Keyonne, what say you?
I have no idea. Who got hurt? I don't know. I'm on Team Kaepernick.
Okay. Kaepernick gets hurt. Him and Eric Reed go 0-16. Gerald, what do you think? Somebody gets hurt? Who's the worst injury that could happen to a team right now?
Man, I don't even want to say this, guy. Knock on wood, because I've,
right.
I really haven't ever seen it more than a game. But I don't even know who our backup quarterback is. I don't even know his name. I think it's Gilbert, Johnny Gilbert or something like that.
Yeah.
Never heard.
Man, if Cam Newton gets hurt, kiss the season goodbye, baby.
Yeah.
Yo, I see
saw
on
Green
Roethlisberger.
Bay.
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you. Roethlisberger's in the concussion protocol.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, he ain't gonna miss a season. I saw Green Bay. I saw Green Bay muddle through some games and get a win last year, right?
Yeah.
I saw Indy. I saw Indy muddle through some games and get some wins last year. Jacoby actually played really, really well.
Yeah.
Man, if we lose Cam for any significant amount of time, man, it's even last year we had Derek Anderson and he was throwing balls in the dirt in all preseason. Like
I think
it's
Alvin Benjamin would disagree with you though.
Nah.
and don't even get me started, man.
But he would only disagree through the media.
Yeah.
To your face.
The backup might be okay, but yeah, he won't say it in person. He won't say it to us.
Right. Facts. But that's mine. I was Rodgers, Cam, and all in that area, man.
Okay. I'll go, and this is, I'm sure if Pooh was on, he'd probably say this, but Keith touched us before, year before last in the playoffs. No, Deshaun Watson. Right?
Yeah.
They were a playoff caliber team. But you talked about this before. That's all that team is missing is a quarterback.
Yeah.
For the last 3-4 years, that's all they've been missing is a quarterback. And we saw what they were like Osweiler in the playoffs against the Patriots. And Keyonne said it then. Man, if they just had a quarterback, they would have beat the Patriots. Because even with Brock Osweiler at quarterback, they lost 27-15, something like that?
It was a game.
It was a game. And Watson comes out last year. They start out 4-2 with him at quarterback. He goes down, they go down. And it's pretty much the same situation. They got one of the best receivers in the league, top 3 defense in the league, but no quarterback without him. So, and I say it because it can happen. Like, we've seen him get hurt before, and recently. So, it's hard to put him above Aaron Rodgers, but just for the sake of a different name, I'll throw Watson's name.
Yeah. I mean, truth be told, there's a handful of teams that could lose their quarterback and their season like not be tanked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's only a few teams that got a quality backup.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Without like going to one word answer, any non-quarterback, Al.
Non-quarterback. I'm gonna stay with my squad, and I'm gonna go with Zeke.
Okay.
I think he showed that
Yeah, we've seen that movie.
he's the difference on the offense. So
Yeah.
we need, and we haven't got. You know, it's not like we found a stud to back him up. I mean, I like his backup, but Zeke is very different.
Yeah. All right. Gerald, non-quarterback.
Odell Beckham.
Okay. We've seen that movie too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Keyonne.
Well, them boys was trash.
What about like I'm pulling this out the sky, but it's like somebody like a Von Miller. Nigga, so heavy on defense. Am I way off base on that?
Nah, you're not. I
Nope.
don't think so.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope. I don't think so
He
either.
makes it-
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. I would have to stay close to home and say Antonio Brown. You know, like
Still got Bell though.
yeah, I've told you how I feel about that. So
You know he gonna get like 500 carries this year. Last year too.
Exactly. Yeah, but like
They gonna get their money's worth.
yeah, they go. Yeah, absolutely. But I just like, you know, Le'Veon can get you 4 yards a carry and catch a lot of 7-yard passes and put up his stats. But in today's NFL, if you ain't got nobody that can take it to the house from 60, you done. You know, so that's why I say Brown. Like I always compare like NFL triplets to that Lakers triplets, and like, so to me, Roethlisberger is Phil Jackson. Like he makes everything go. Antonio Brown is Shaq. You know, so you take him out, a whole lot of shit. You can't even play the same way. You know, so that's why I say Antonio Brown.
He's the most exciting player in the league, man. Like I love watching him play.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I like AB too.
yeah. So yeah.
It's his commercial game is getting good.
It's
He's
getting better.
he's doing a lot of that's what I'm saying. He getting that endorsement money.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Yeah, it's like in his first few commercials, you can tell he was kind of like out of place, like it was whack. But yeah, he getting better. I'm you know, the commercials themselves. Oh yeah. So Mario, hope we answered. We gave you double dipped on your question, man. Thanks, Mario. Again, thanks for the questions, guys. Keep them coming. If you have any questions or feedback for us, you can email us at info@godefylife.com. You can hashtag us on social media at Defy Life Podcast, or you can comment on any of our show pages. So yeah, definitely keep the questions coming. These are fun.
No doubt. Appreciate the question.
Yeah, no doubt. One NFL question this week. Start with you, Al. For NFL first for 2018, this is a double-pronged question here. Who will be the first quarterback to get benched in 2018, and who will be the first head coach fired this season?
I'm going with Buffalo's McCarron.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a believer.
Mm-hmm.
They got the first round pick behind him. So I think, it's not going to take long in a struggling offense for them to be like, some losses mount up. I think they're going with the young boy. So that's my pick on the quarterback who's going to get benched first. And I was trying to imagine some scenario where someone would get fired during the season. And so my dream scenario, unfortunately, it would be Jim Harbaugh. John Harbaugh. I'm sorry.
Oh.
The Ravens, right? So they go like 0-10, and Flacco sucks, and he loses control of the team. It's just my dream scenario. They give Lamar a shot, and he takes over. So, yeah, I'm going with the Ravens.
Cool. I was trying to figure out where you were going with that. I thought you wanted like Harbaugh to get fired during the season, and then Jason Garrett get fired after the season, and somehow y'all end up with Harbaugh. I thought that's where you were going with it. But yeah, Lamar.
I don't want him.
Man, I'm
expecting Garrett to be coach of the year.
Hey, it's amazing what competition will do for you, man. They say Joe Flacco is having the best camp of his career.
That's what they say.
About time.
Yeah. So we'll see what it's like when the bullets start flying.
We'll see.
I don't know. Gerald, what do you think? First quarterback benched and first head coach fired in 2018.
See, man, I'm gonna go because I think it's too easy to pick Buffalo or the McCarron or McCown, right, from the Jets. Like,
okay.
I think that's too easy because those picks are so high, and they're already ranting and raving about those. So I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna double dip here with my answer, and I'm gonna say if this guy has a bad season. If he plays the first 3 games of this year the way he played the first 3 games of last year, then Andy Dalton.
Okay. Who's back up there now?
I don't know.
Somebody I should know. I can't remember. I know they. AJ. Can't remember. But yeah,
it was AJ. It was AJ. Now it's Let's see. Let's check it out.
Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I don't.
Oh, man.
And McCown not going to start the season for the Jets. I don't see that happening.
Donald's getting that job.
Bridgewater or Donald is going to have that job.
Yeah.
That's my
I think so, too. That's why I didn't want to make that call because it's too, like, that job is too in flux. So I thought that'd be too easy. But I'm telling you, man, if Dalton has if he has 3 games to start off this season, like the first 3 or 4 games from last year, I think they'll bench him and bring someone off the streets. Like I don't think Barkley's going to be their backup. I think they'll bring a guy in, just because they were trying to hold on to McCarron.
Yeah.
And I want to double dip and say that if the Bengals go 1-3, 0-4, Marvin Lewis is out of there.
Think so? Finally?
Yeah, I think so. I think like Bengals fans have wanted him fired for 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone in Central Ohio was shocked when he actually got extended. Bengals fans were texting me all kinds of explicatives and what the fucks and all. So I know firsthand, man. They were completely jaw dropped and flabbergasted. So, man, I'm gonna say because I think these other coaches with some of these struggling teams, maybe Hugh Jackson in Cleveland. I think some of these other coaches are pretty safe because their teams are not very talented. But man, the Bengals, they're expected to win. So I think if they have a bad start, man, I think that'll spell doom for Lewis as well as Andy.
Man, so pretty bad year in Cincinnati. You saying?
I don't know. I sneakily kind of root for the Bengals. Just because I really like Marvin Lewis, but it's been tough to defend them against Bengals fans, man. They want him gone. They want his head.
I like Marvin in Cincinnati, man. That's 2 wins every year we get.
Damn.
Hey, man. I don't know, man.
Remember when they had Mike Nugent? It was Marvin Lewis and Mike Nugent. Those are the guys they wanted.
Yeah.
Those are the guys they wanted out of town.
Yeah. Yeah, like that was one of the funniest lines I've heard on SportsCenter when Mike Nugent was kicking for the Bengals, because wasn't he like a Jets second round draft pick or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, he missed the kick, like a 23-yard kick to end the game. They lost by like 2. And on SportsCenter, I forgot who even the anchor was, but he was like, former Jets great Mike Nugent misses the field goal.
Former.
Yeah, man. I don't know. You're right. I mean, I like Marvin. I hate the Bengals just because it's a long history there. Of course, I'm obligated to hate the Bengals, but to sum it up, fuck you, TJ Houshmandzadeh. So that's how far back that goes.
But that's one-sided though, right? Because Steelers ain't never struggled with.
Exactly. But that's why I hate the Bengals. Like I don't hate the Ravens, right? Because it's a real rivalry, right? Like the Bengals it's completely one-sided, but yet they think they're a rival, right? So that's why I hate the Ravens, because it's kind of like the bug, like the windshield considering the bug a rival. That shit don't happen. So that's like I don't hate the Browns. I respect the Ravens, and I pity the Browns, but I hate the Bengals. So yeah, I don't know. So,
that's pretty equal though.
Eagles, Redskins.
You hate them all.
You got them.
That's equal. That's like a real,
Yeah,
that's a
real,
respectable.
Yeah. And that's like historic rivalries, like for years. Yeah. Like the Bengals ain't never been good enough for us. Like not consistently for like. So nah.
Boomer Esiason, or have they been pretty good since?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like on a year-to-year basis, like every couple of years they'll pop up. Like when when Houshmandzadeh and Ocho Cinco were there, they were decent.
Yeah.
Carson Palmer, that crowd. They still didn't win a playoff game because Marvin Lewis was there. They still ain't win a playoff game. So I guess like you got to go back to like Sam Weiss days when they were going to Super Bowls and stuff.
Yeah, in the 90s or 80s, actually.
80s, yeah, when they played the 49ers, yeah. So, Ken Anderson at quarterback. Like, yeah, it's a long time ago. Yeah. So.
Icky Woods, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Icky. So, I don't know. But yeah, so Madden 19 came out last Friday, right? And I'll be honest, I ain't played Madden since 05, right? Just because, it takes up so much of my time. I tried to play it once. I remember my kids went out of town with my wife, and I had just gotten them Madden. This was like Madden. This might have been 16 or 17. And I had just gotten them Madden, and they went to New York for 2 weeks, and so I was at the house by myself. I was like, word, I had it all planned out, and just pushed the couch up to the TV. I'm just going to play Madden, play franchise mode for 2 weeks straight.
Right.
Man, I got through, and money, you know how we do. We simulate the first season, then go straight into the off season. I'm drafting free agent. I got halfway through the first season, and I was literally like, I can't do this shit no more. I'm done. Like, really, like a day and a half in, I quit. And I was like, I cleaned the house back up. I washed the same cup that I was drinking out of for the last 3 days, and I was like, you know what? And I was like, I can't do it. So, full disclosure, I haven't like played Madden like that since 05, but I do have a lot of great Madden like memories. So with that, I asked Gerald, with the release of Madden 19, what is your most memorable Madden moment in your life?
Man, outside of deciding to stop playing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I don't know. See, I don't need. outside of my love of college football, Electronic Arts, man, they have ruined Madden, man. Like when I respected EA as a game studio was those early years when it was like EA Sports, it's in the game. When that was their motto, if it's in the game, it's in the game. Man, that was like heyday. I think
now
that was like my
on the soundtrack. Fuck EA.
Yeah, now man, I don't. And I'm a gamer. And outside of just knowing studios like the studio that makes 2K and BioWare and other just respectable studios, man. EA has they don't put the artwork into their craft anymore. They just buy it. If a studio is better, they just buy them. And then they water them down with their cartoony work. So the only good games that EA makes are the games where EA is just the name of the studio, but they actually kept the original design studio from the original crew. Gotcha. So that's why 2K consistently beats their ass every year, because they refuse whatever offer EA makes them, they refuse it. So the only reason that EA even still makes the best football game in town is just because they're the only ones that make a football game. So I long lost respect for Madden when I began to play 2K and saw how realistic everything looked, and the Madden was still kind of making cartoons. But anyway, I'm off on a tangent. My bad.
No, because I'm trying to follow it because I'm trying to understand. So it's the graphics that you have a beef with.
Well, see, nowadays, man, Keyonne, these video games can do so much. They look so real. I just have no respect for the EA studios at all. They still kind of look like cartoon. I still feel like the players they still move. The movements aren't fluid. Everything still looks cartoony. There's so much more they could do with the capability of a next gen game console. It's tough to watch, man. And I don't feel like that about other EA sports. Like I said, I was a huge fan of EA College Football. Yeah. That studio was amazing. Man, NBA Live was so bad, EA had to stop making it for like 3 or 4 years. They didn't even they stopped making NBA Live. That's how bad it had gotten. As a gamer, I just don't have a lot of respect for Electronic Arts at all. As a sports game creator. And usually their games only do well when they're the only game in town. But my most memorable Madden moment, I would have to say, is back in college, and Jay will tell you, man, we used to have these. I mean, Madden in college was like that was our thing, we would all be in the same either dorm or same house or whatever. We would all be on the same franchise or season. And, man, we would get it in. I mean, if we weren't in class, we were playing Madden. And, man, that's when we all became, really, really super close. I mean, we just spent so much time together. So, I guess my most memorable time playing Madden was actually just, meeting all you guys and making my friends, man, and meeting some of the best people I've ever met in my life, man. That's and trying to beat Jay and trying to I would spend hours trying to figure out how to beat Jay, Pooh, V's, Yosh. It was just I would study, and then I spend an hour trying to game plan for Pooh.
Yeah, it was real. Yeah, man.
And Jay, remember we would have to play college and then simulate the seasons. Absolutely. And then get the draft class and then load the draft class that was my job. Man, it was. And then as the internet developed, we ain't all have to be in the same place. So then that became like, man, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, man. It was good times, man. It was, I don't know, like surrounded, like my favorite moments, like in those times, of course, was like having, 12 people in the house and everybody in the same franchise on Madden. And for one, walking in on Chad when everybody at work and Chad playing his game in the franchise, and Chad and he losing, so he switches control over to the computer team so he can make his team win. And we walk in the house after work, and we catch Chad switching it back. Like, it was crazy. Like, he trying to lie and defend himself, but like specifically, like my favorite moments was when like the new games would come out. So like college, they only had the player name and number, right? And then Madden, like you said before, the internet, the rosters were fixed unless you went in and changed them. So I would literally take the first 2 nights we got the game, first 2 days, updating all the college rosters, adding the names. I mean, from Alabama down to UC, at all 154 teams, however many teams it is, adding names to all the rosters. Like, we would go buy the Athlon book, and we would go through and add all the names. And then we would do the same in Madden. And if that dude is out for the season in real life, you kick him out on the game too. Like, you can't play with him, right? It would be a house full of dudes like, come on, Jay, come on, Moneyman, let's play. We're like, nope, we can't play yet until the rosters is right. But when it was right, it was right. And then that's next thing you know, we had the franchise rolling. We had drafting our own players. Like, it was just intense competition, but it was fun. Like, V's frying fish, we singing "Fry That Fish Ho." Like, it was just great. Yeah, like, it was just nuts, man. But it was good times. Keyonne, you got a favorite Madden moment?
Just as a kid, I used to rent it. So just renting Madden like 95 or something like that. Getting my mama give me the $2 after I beg her for it, and then I drive my bike to the store and get it. And would just play it all night because we had to have it back in like 2 days. You know what I mean? So it's just being a kid, loving the game. So that's the only thing I can think of.
All right. Al, what's your most memorable Madden moment?
I mean, I think Key just talking about renting the game took me back to when I first started playing the game, which was I was in grad school. So, I mean, in the early 90s, I'm in Atlanta, and it was actually some guys I was working with at Emory. They were Madden fanatics, and they would come to work talking about their, one coming by the other's house and just, about the games. And I'm sitting there like, I can't believe y'all are getting this caught up in a video game. And eventually they convinced me to come by and check it out, play it, and got hooked. Got my friends on it, and then as I thought about what's my most memorable is really, I guess, fast forward when now I'm married, kids. Madden was like a good escape in terms of me getting out of the house with these young kids just in the acting, being 2, 3, 4, 5, however, just as a man, you're looking to get out of that every now and then. And what Madden was a cheap alternative that, kept me out of the bars, the titty bars, the clubs. So it was a way to enjoy myself with my homeboys, but also without a lot of temptations and distractions and the early points in my marriage. I needed that. So it was a good release. So I can relate to, getting rosters right and just the competition of it, because, eventually I started out with a crew of like probably 6 dudes, just losing the love for the game. It ended up just being like 2 or 3. But we went hard for several years where we were playing franchises and had teams and would do trades, and it was definitely cool. And but yeah, eventually you had to put down the sticks.
Yeah, And it was cool for you, like, which is, I guess I can say I envy that, is like, at least like it kind of overlapped where your son was started playing and you kind of play against your son, like you were still playing enough to where like you knew what you were doing when your son started playing Madden. Like that was cool.
When he started playing, right? That is correct.
Yeah, so like now,
and it really could relate to him and his cousins having these video game sessions where other people might be like, you know, like, damn, all they do when they see each other is, you know, come get something to eat and then run back to the room, and you don't see them again until like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, yeah, but they all right. Like, they good. That's what they want to do, and they're having a good time. And yeah, they stink and they need to take a shower, but
we know where they at.
Right. At least not in trouble.
You know what's crazy? Is if I walk into my sister's house or whatever, any of one of my sisters, and I pick up them sticks, none of them boys beat me to this day.
Nah, you can't just play Madden like that. You need some practice.
Hey man, I'm telling you, man, we was good.
The few times I picked up,
I don't believe that.
No, I do. The few times I picked up the stick since 05, like my nephew's like, "Hey, uncle, you want to play?" I beat the shit out of him. Like,
facts.
You know, just like, because part of it, as long as I can get the controls right, where I remember, it's kind of like riding a bike. As long as I know where the buttons are,
right,
I'll find, you know. And
it is, but I guess because I left versions of Go. You know what I mean? Like, when you go from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 4, it has the game and the controller has changed a lot.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I have to make some adjustments to
completing a pass.
Yeah, I have to make some adjustments, make my controller the same controls as it was before. Because, you know, they change every now and then. So as long as I remember like where the controls are, which buttons is for what, I'm good. It takes me a minute, but yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, I can still. I ain't gonna say I can like jump on with like some serious gamers and be like, yo, I can like that. No, but like some kids and my nephew want to play, I can give them a run.
Yeah, I'll be like, y'all good? Like I get on the net, man. I can get on the net and be like, man, y'all said y'all was good. Like, and then what do I always end up doing? I always go back to telling those old war stories about me and my 10 college friends. Like, man, I already, if y'all good, y'all should have saw me and my dudes from back in the day, man. Y'all would be like, man, these niggas is geniuses. These dudes must have coached the league or something. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was serious. Like, we always had somebody's girl was going to be in the house cooking spaghetti for the whole house. Like, it was crazy.
Crazy.
Pooh, it's you?
Yeah, this
me. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, see? See?
Oh, man.
I told him we'd be up all night the night before when it was time for me and you to play each other. Like, just insane. Like, and don't let me lose, because I might not talk to this kid for 3 days.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it would be like I remember I won the Super Bowl on Madden one time, of course, with the Steelers, right? You know, I draw. So after everybody mad and done left out, I done stayed up all night. I'm in class. I'm drawing pictures of like Plexico birds and Heinz Ward, hanging them up all through the house. Everybody mad, tearing them down. You know, it was crazy. Fuck you, Jay. I mean, literally, like, dudes getting mad. I remember me and V's didn't speak for like 3 days behind college football. It was, man. And even back, like, as far as high school, me and Pooh was talking about this the other day. When we was in high school, we'd be at Pooh house, or be in my house. We'd be up, you know, in each other's house 2, 3 in the morning playing Madden. I mean, all day on the weekends. And even after we got out during the summers, all day. And I remember we was talking about this the other day. Pooh moms come in the house. If y'all don't get off that PlayStation, stop playing that football game, y'all running up my light bill.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was like, my uncle, he was an electrician. I was like, Uncle Bobby said that it don't do nothing to the light bill. And she was like, well, shit, y'all go live with it then, you know.
Mine was those things tear up the TV.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was, but I remember I remember seeing my first like knowledge of Madden was seeing it in the Sears catalog, and and you know, like back then, wasn't no YouTube. I go see clips. I stared at that fucking picture in the Sears catalog every day for hours. Like, oh man, look, because you know we used to Tecmo Bowl, right? So just seeing something like that, I was like, man, the linemen are actually bigger than the running back. Like, it was crazy to me. I couldn't stop staring at this picture, and like as shitty as the graphics were back then, based on what we have now. Back then, I looked at it amazing. Like, yo, look how realistic this shit is. Like,
they were amazing.
Yeah. And every year, I remember saying, like, it can't get no better than this. It can't get no better.
And it always did.
And it always did. So,
I'll tell you this. Kind of growing up with younger cousins, it was always interesting, kind of as I was in my younger 20s. So now I have access to adult conversations, liquor, like they're welcoming me into that crowd. But I walk by my little cousin's room and they playing Madden or NBA Live, and I'm like, damn, I do want to get a game in and shit. It's kind of like, I know my uncles were looking at me like, what the fuck? Like, I already see my sons spending all day playing this shit. Your grown ass is gonna sit there and play with them? Hell yeah! Exactly. I gotta get the game, shawty.
I remember a couple times coming to Atlanta, like, you know, when you know, your crew, when me and Junior, and you know, we'd be like, yo, your crew ain't better than mine. Like, we would come in and you and Mel and Chris, like, yeah, and get it in. But
yep.
Yeah, but based on what Gerald's telling us now, shit ain't the same no more.
Nah.
We just gotta live off our glory days, and so does EA Sports, I guess.
Yep.
But as far as the capping thing, I wonder how much of that is EA Sports and how much of that is NFL. Like they I think they jump in front of the bullet for the NFL, but I wonder if that was them. They got that initiative, like, we don't want him nowhere near this game, or, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the NFL had a lot to do with that.
Yeah,
I'm sure the NFL did too. Because honestly, you know, but I don't know, because EA, it is a tech company. It's a California company, like, so, you know, it's pretty liberal. But and they know the demographic of who plays their game. Yeah. So they know those young kids that was going to piss them off. So I don't know. Like, I definitely think the NFL had something to do with it. But EA is also, they're not a stupid company.
You remember the time Vic won the cover? Like, well, and they switched it up and they said the white running back from the Browns. Like, it was the year that Vic had the video game year, 2010. I remember that year vividly. But they had you could vote who's going to be on the cover. Yeah. And then EA Sports was like, Vic was winning the whole time. Like, the last week, I forget his name. Jake, the running back.
Yeah.
Peyton Hollis.
Peyton Hillis.
Hillis.
Yeah. Peyton Hillis. Yeah. He just won at the last week.
Yeah.
You know.
I remember that though.
I remember.
Yeah. But, you know, and at the same time, I don't think EA Sports is as powerful as they are in their industry. I don't think they want anything to do with having a record label or an artist take them to court over music rights, because Big Sean would have every right to do that if he didn't sign off on that. So I don't think they want any part of that.
I don't understand.
Real quick, I think if I just want to, just a thought that, and I'll let you get back to your point for a second, Jay. Just a thought. If you lined up all of the covers of Madden in history, I bet Peyton Hillis is the one motherfucker that you look and be like, how the fuck did he get the cover?
You know what's funny, Al? You know what I'm... doing right now when calling name, I Google him like, what the fuck? He had one good year, dude.
Yeah.
And that was the year he was on Madden.
Yeah.
But he's also further evidence of the Madden curse. After that, his career went downhill. So whether you believe it or not, he's kind of lends into that.
Was there Brady on it last year, right? Who was on it? Whoever was on last year didn't. Oh man.
Yeah, I ain't saying it's like batting 1,000, but I'm just saying he's
it ain't
part of the
correct.
reason why it persists. Yeah, it ain't the flat effect. But but Peyton Hillis is one of the reasons why the Madden effect persists. Right?
Well, you know who's on it this year, so hopefully it holds true.
I don't know. He missed his first training camp practice in 3 years. So shit. Let's see.
Who's on the cover this year?
AB.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, AB. Okay.
Yeah. So right after Madden drops, what happens? He misses a week of practice. So we'll see. But he's back.
Roethlisberger bump his head.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, I mean, you look at so it don't happen every year, but Peyton Hillis is like one of the prime examples of why the Madden curse exists, right? So look at him, Eddie George, there's a bunch of dudes that.
Didn't they have one AP?
I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Sean Alexander.
He went down.
Wasn't it Adrian Peterson when he tore his ACL?
I don't see him on here.
You don't see it?
There. I know Eddie George. He went down right afterwards.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
It's
It's I don't believe it, but that's those reasons are why it persists. So, I don't know. So on to our question of the week. Before we do that, we want to shout out one of our other shows, in the Defy Life Podcast Network. So, long and short of it, have you ever wondered why some of your favorite NFL players do after their playing careers are done? Or how journeys led to NFL to begin with? Check out the Long and Short of It podcast, where J.R. Glymph sits down with former NFL players as they share their stories. Season 1 featured greats such as LaVon Kirkland and Matthias Kiwanuka. Season 2 is coming up soon, along with the NFL season. So check out the Long and Short of It, brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network. Cha-ching!
Y'all.
Yeah. But yeah, so we got a lot of good shows in the lineup. We'll be highlighting a lot of those during the show, and during theirs, they'll be highlighting other shows as well. So keep us in check. And we got some new shows coming for you as well. But on to the question of the week. Before we get into some trivia, last week, Keyonne, we talked about the ins and outs of teaching young boys how to win, how to lose, how to compete. In this current day, all right? Because it's different than when we were kids, and you couldn't cry, you couldn't complain, you just had to suck it up and go on about your day, be a man about everything, right? But it's different today. I think we all kind of relate to young boys differently than adult men related to us when we were young. I think society evolves, and so does manhood, so does fatherhood. So kind of touched on that last week, but I kind of wanted to follow up. I've been, like, as I said last week, I've been hearing this term a lot lately, toxic masculinity, and just how people view masculinity these days almost as a negative term. And so I kind of want to touch on it. So 2 questions. One, is masculinity eroding? And what is the current meaning or the current state of masculinity? So, Thomas, you just joined us, so I'll give you a chance to speak. What do you think? Is masculinity eroding, and what is the current state of masculinity? Is he gone again?
Who'd you say?
Thomas. Eddie Kane Jr. Was he here or was I dreaming?
He was here.
I thought
He was here.
Okay, I was about to say, was I crazy for a second? All right, well, Al, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think there's been an attack on masculinity for a long time, 30 years running. And I just think we have just evolved like that as a society. And to me, it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of things in our society that I disagree with. And this just happens to be one of them. And I think people, to me, being masculine is just, I think we need it. The culture, the society needs that. And I embrace my masculinity and everything that it has always been. But in a good way to me, so yeah.
Right.
There's nothing toxic about how I'm manly, in my opinion. But,
gotcha. Okay. Keyonne, what do you think? Do you think masculinity is eroding?
Is masculinity eroding? I hate broad questions because it sends my brain. It's not you or anybody. It's just my mind goes in 100 different directions, and I get like overload. So I focus on one thing. I think about hip hop and how dudes wearing the bags, like the merces or whatever you want to call it, and they dressing funny. And then I think back to the 80s with Rick James, how they was dressing. And I'm like, I heard a lot of theories, man. I don't know. Is masculinity eroding? Sure. I trying to make people gay or make gay cool, or I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I'm no good on this. It's so much information. There's so many people and so many different angles. I just don't know how to answer. I'm not sure. Okay. All
right. Gerald, what do you think? Did he go with Pooh?
Yeah, him and Pooh.
No,
I'm here.
I'm here.
I was about to say I'm here.
Thought y'all want to go play Madden.
Nah. I don't know, man. This is so. How can I? Because there's really no way to put this gently, but so there's a whole segment of people that don't like labels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a whole segment of people that like things uniform, and in an effort. One of the amazing. I'll give everyone a quick. One of the amazing things that the civil rights movement and accomplishments of that movement did is it made everyone that felt outside of the norm of society or disenfranchised for whatever reason or frowned upon for whatever reason also see that fight can be fought. And out of that has grown this desire for everyone to want to feel equal, no matter your background is, what you look like, where you're from, or what your sex is, what your beliefs are. Everyone, so that our movement kind of spurned the desire for everyone to kind of achieve that same type of upward swing, if for whatever group that they identify with. And so out of that is born the declassification of certain words and categories, and so you see a lot of that in our current modern culture, as as you see transgender people, and BT community people, like that whole segment. You see people that are, tall, don't want to be called tall, and you see people that are skinny, don't want to be called skinny. Like, it's just all so being masculine has kind of fallen into this category of like, well, I'm a pink elephant and I want to be masculine too. When typically being a pink elephant isn't associated with being masculine. So I think that the definition in itself of the word is kind of being stretched to include things that you wouldn't typically think are masculine, but in the same vein of, segments of our cultures trying to expand what the definition means. Because I think words can and phrases have power. So, it's my opinion that, why not? But for me, like, that's just masculinity is kind of like manhood. It's kind of like, so when you start to try to categorize those sayings, and people will always ask you, well, what does that mean? So instead of giving my answer on if I think masculinity is dying, I just wanted to kind of explain a little bit of what that looks like to the world, and then kind of, because I don't really have an answer, because I don't know. Like a lot of times, if you ask me something, I'll say, well, I don't really know. When people kept asking about like the bathroom law and if I thought it was fair, because people know I speak out about that stuff, I was like, well, I don't really know. I don't know how it feels to see. I don't know how it feels to be a man, but on the inside feel like anything else but a man. So those questions are too. Those questions are too, like, I don't know how to answer those questions because I don't have any experience with that. So I'm gonna just say that, and that's gonna be my answer.
Okay,
that's an easy one, the bathroom law. But I will not digress.
All right. Pooh, what do you think?
I'm only saying that when I don't know, I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Pooh, what do you feel about masculinity in its current state?
Well, on one hand, I would say no. It's just a thing that right now society depicts things that are, I guess we normally see them as being extremely masculine, but they're highlighting the things that are not so masculine. At this point in time, it probably was the same as like Key said, in the 80s, those guys wearing the fanny packs, but it wasn't as highlighted as it is right now. It's been, I guess, because, social media, they putting the different commercials and things like that. So now it's like being, I guess, a lot of awareness and attention is being brought to it. So I don't even know if it's more, but we've been shown more. Okay. So I can't really say that. And this is funny because a few years ago, and this nurse came to me. We were having a conversation at lunch, and she came to me. She was like, "Yeah," and dude, it was totally weird, right? So she was like, "You know what? I think guys just aren't as masculine, as they used to be." I was like, "Oh, okay." She was like, "Yeah, I had my grandson, and the penises aren't as big as they used to be," and I was like, "Oh." Okay.
What?
So no, she was like, I guess she was bathing them, whatever.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was weird, but this is her philosophy. So she was like, yeah, because all the things and the medicine that the women are taking, they're pouring it in the drain, and it's they're urinating it out, and it's going in the sewers, and they're recycling it, but it's still in the water. The estrogen is still in the water. So now the male body has more estrogen than it ever has, been accustomed to having. And it's giving them more of a, female thinking and mentality, and it's taking effect on their genitalia areas and things like that. And I really thought it was a fascinating thought. and it really made a lot of sense. But that's where I am with that.
I think it's more likely that we have more mothers raising sons by them without men in their lives, as opposed, like that to me has had
I see that.
you know what I mean? Like that to me, and I with all the respect to a single mother and what they do, to me that is a consequence of that environment. Just more often than not.
Yeah, I think about that what Al just said. Ditto, like the way my wife treats my son, and the way, like, I think I said this on the show before. I watched him with is my wife and my grandmother. And like he would be a straight punk if I wasn't around.
Yeah.
Like really, like he fall down. It's just crazy. And when I'm around, he doesn't even. He'll fall. He'll look up at me. He'll get up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like man, it's crazy.
But I know a lot of mothers too, though. And a lot of mothers hard nosed.
But see,
like he good, he a boy. I know a lot of moms like that.
And then they overcompensate.
Right.
So now they turn them into a cycle. They don't know what's normal.
The benefit of a man
Yes.
is what it was like to be that boy. Yeah. So there is no overcompensating. You just raising him the way you think he needs to be raised. Yeah. Where I think with women, it's almost like, I agree with you.
And if I had him, although it was just me raising him, he wouldn't be right either. He would be,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
That's why it's a balance. I agree completely.
Definitely.
That's why,
But I definitely don't see, we're talking about masculinity. I don't see anything wrong with expressing your manhood. Like like to me, like I've been, I'm sure you've all been told the same, but to me, I've been told, like, like you're such a manly man, like you're a man's man. And to me, like there's nothing wrong with that, But at the same time, like I'm not like I don't have a problem, hugging, kissing my sons, telling them I love them. I don't think that makes me less masculine. You know what I'm saying? But at this, but then in turn, my wife says something and my kids don't listen. But when they hear a man's voice, they hear my voice, they straighten up and they do it. That's part of masculinity to me, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think in our mindset and in our day, like I think the term toxic masculinity, even though it's a new term, I think we looked at it as like the frat boy mentality, where it's like rape culture and like that kind of shit. We was like, okay, yeah, that's too far.
Yeah, that is toxic.
Yeah. But yeah, like me, me standing around talking about football with my boys is not toxic to me. Like that's just what men like. So I think it's gone a little too far. And when I hear that term, I think it gets thrown around like very loosely, because it's, same way I don't think any of us would want to live in a world where there is no femininity. I think if it got to a point where there's no masculinity, a lot of people that are throwing this toxic masculinity term around would have to think twice.
I think there's just too much of a lot of stuff going on now, but I think the further we can get away, turn the TV off and get away from this social media, get into the real world. I think real people are kind of normal.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. What we seen online and stuff and TV
for the most part.
Yeah. For the most part. Like when you're around real people, it's like real, I can't even describe it, but what's online is just not real. What's in these on these social media platforms are just not real.
Yeah.
And television.
That's why you need to kick your kids out of the house, man. Like it's so many, like this generation coming up, they don't know how to interact with each other. Like they don't actually know how to speak to each other. They don't practice it. They don't know what it is to have an actual, to converse with someone actually face to face, or, to how to break ice or find commonalities, or like it's tough for them.
Or have a conversation. They don't know how to argue.
Definitely, exactly. Or even have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So when you like there, it's a whole man. It's such a deep topic, just because, it's a lot of factors that play into that. Starting in the house and then going out outside of the house into the actual social structures. Like social media is cool for if you use it for what it's used for, but it's not a replacement for actual real friends. Like if I try to tell my nieces and nephews all the time, because I have like maybe 1,300 Facebook friends. If you actually think that I have 1,300 real friends,
dude, I can't. I have trouble. We talk about this offline. Like, get on. I can't. I have problems getting on Facebook. I just can't. Like, I internalize things. When I see people saying stuff, that's just it literally bothers me to the point where like my neck start. I can't even explain it. So I get off of it because it's just not real. When I see you in person, it's not like that. But I'm reading this stuff. I just have trouble with that. So, I can't do that like you guys can. I just can't, bro. Yeah. It's just Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't know. And I think that's all social media to me. Like, I can't, like, outside of like sharing for our purposes and being on social media for Defy Life purposes, I have to take social media in doses. Like, that's every platform, right? But that's the state of the world that we live in. And when you talked about, excuse me, how this generation coming up doesn't know how to interact, and now it's bleeding into our generation and generations like before us. Where you see like, and not just on social media, and like it's in the household now. Like, like.
Right.
And like
right.
Kids are texting their parents from downstairs, like, "Yo, like,
I do that.
But that's something. It's not abnormal, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the world that we live in.
And then everyone goes to their rooms and talks on, and then texts. Like, there's no dinner table interaction. I agree.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Now, one thing I say, is I'm gonna contradict myself a lot. Like I do Twitter and I do Instagram. Well, how can you see one's fake and one's real? On Twitter, I follow a lot of famous people and I get in the back and forth with them. You know why I can do that? Because I don't know them. So like I was looking at their NBA young boy working with a bunch of money in his, he might live in a room that has roaches and rats in it for. I don't know that. I don't see that, so I can do that. But when I see somebody I know you pawned your mother's TV because your mother went to my mother's house and was crying, and you on Facebook talking about how you balled out. I can't. That makes me angry. So I can't engage in that. No. So that's maybe a defect in my brain, but it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and whatever it is, like I always say, like, the greatest invention in the history of the world is the internet, and the worst invention in the history of the world is the internet. Like, it's definitely a double-edged sword. So, that's definitely the root of a lot of it. And to take it back to masculinity, I think that's the root of a lot of that. That's why it's under attack and why it's eroding. Because you look at all things that. Gender roles, which a lot of people shy away from gender roles. I think gender roles have a part in all society. So there's a reason why a man doesn't know how to court a woman. Dudes don't know how to court women anymore because of social media a lot of times. Because of text messages. They don't even know how to date. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they don't even know how to date.
Exactly. And in turn, a lot of women don't know how to accept masculinity because they see it as a threat. Because with the internet and again, single mothers and with reality TV, has come the popularity and the spread of, I'm independent, I don't need no man, and so you get that, and so it's like this vicious cycle where it's like men don't know how to hunt a woman, and a woman doesn't know how to be hunted because they don't think like they need us, and we don't know how to need them. So it's crazy.
It's been real interesting having a daughter who's in college, who's like gender classes, and coming home to dad who's like, Nah, I still fucking believe in gender roles. Like, yeah, I understand that's what you learned in class, but nah, I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
And
That was my whole point, Al. Like the kids aren't being like society's not teaching like it's quote unquote a neutral thing these days. Like it's not. So a lot of it starts in the home. But man, I'm telling you, when you send your kids out there into this world, society's like they're trying to make it so that you're just a human now.
This is interesting.
You're
now we getting
really,
more into like
what
so, it's probably the end of the. Hey, I'm going to cut you off, but let me ask, because Al, you said in college they're teaching gender neutral courses.
no, having she has classes that deal with gender roles that basically are advocating for this idea that there shouldn't be gender roles in our society, that they're a bad thing, and
right.
for then her to come home to a father who's like, nah, that's how I think the world operates well, and so just having differences of opinion and then sharing why I feel the way I do. It's just been good conversation.
Gender role meaning women should cook and men should cut like that.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Okay.
Stuff like that, yeah.
And to a certain extent, like, I get it. Like, my wife gets off later than me, so I have to cook every day. But
I agree.
Right.
And my daughter knows, she's lived in my house. She know I do hella cooking.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I grew up around men who cook. So to me, that's like, so it's like nothing. And my wife can come saying, everything's equal in this house until there's a fucking spider to kill, and then who she call. So, it's like,
right.
So it's eventually reality checks in, and regardless of how many, like how far we try to push that evolution, how many classes we teach on like graying those lines, eventually you come back to reality, and a woman go look at a dude and be like, there's a big fucking spider in here, can you kill it? And a dude's and a dude's eventually gonna look at his woman like, look, the baby's crying, I don't know what the fuck to do. Like that shit just happens, and like I don't, maybe
I
like
agree.
as we continue to evolve, like after our lifetime, maybe, but I don't know, that shit still exists.
That's just ingrained in us. You can, cause I watch with my little boy when he gets around little girls. Exactly. A little girl could be like 7 years old, but I don't know if we're not going to the same place. I don't know. It's not like he's into them, but I'm saying I see a bunch of little girls. Let's say a little girl's like 7, and she will hover over him, protecting him. Yeah, like a mother type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They interact differently.
Yeah, a motherly kind of like that stuff is like that's in DNA, bro.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's ingrained.
Yeah.
That goes way back to Neanderthals and the first, what you want. It goes way back to the men going out and hunting for the food, and the women staying behind to cook and keep the village or the kids or the home or whatever. Like this goes way, way, way back. So I agree. I'm just saying that's not. They're trying to break those. They're trying to break the
social construct.
They're trying to break the social construct of saying like, well, why in our world, why can't the men be okay with staying home and taking care of the kids and keeping the village, and the women can go out and hunt? They're trying to make it so that no matter what you do, everything's gonna be okay.
I've seen some real freaky things. We could take this conversation way left where I'm watching like the Joe Rogan. He has a guy on there that believes that you can give a kid is say 5 years old and say, boy, I want to be a girl. Well, now you give him what you call it, like medicine. I can't get the proper words for it. We call it puberty blockers. They call it, where he will never develop. And they think that so it's people that and they sit here and interview, and the guy will be like, man is a social construct, women is a social construct. There is no such thing as a man and woman. Like
that's what I was saying. That's what I started out with.
But my thing is
because you guys remember, like estrogen, the hormone that makes you a woman is estrogen. And the hormone that makes you a man is
Testosterone.
what's it called? Testosterone. Now, what medicine has developed so much that they can actually give you testosterone blockers and inject you with estrogen, and that's the very first process of like transgenderness or whatever. I don't know what the word of it called, but like, so they can act, and physically your body will do what it's designed to do. And because if you don't produce testosterone and you're fake producing estrogen, you will change.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
that's like
so
the biggest, like, to me, that
physically,
all comes
maybe
back
not.
Yeah, but that's what comes, like, to me, that all comes back to man's desire to play God, right? And that's all this shit comes down to. Is we want to change everything that is, and we can't just let shit be, right? Like, one of the most powerful lines to me is, weirdly enough, from the first Jurassic Park movie. I think you all remember this, when Jeff Goldblum says, this is when, the T-Rex gets loose, and he's like, God creates dinosaur, God kills dinosaur. God creates man, man creates dinosaur, dinosaur kills man. All right? Because man wants to fucking play God and create shit that we ain't supposed to be creating anyway. And all we end up doing is just muddying the water. And nobody knows what's what, instead of just leaving shit be. And not saying that, we should never evolve, but we shouldn't force evolution. Like, we take things that should be evolution and try to make it revolution. And the shit just happens too quick, and just let nature take its course.
People would shoot holes in that theory, though, by saying that God gave man the knowledge to.
I gotta shoot. I agree. I don't. Look, I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm gonna shoot holes in that for this reason, because there has to be a market out there for that. There's a market out there for, like, because somebody had to be the first woman to be like, you know what? I don't, like, this ain't me. Like, I'm in my heart and in my mind, I'm a man. And for the first dude to be like, you know what? Like, I'm a lady. Like, once again, I don't understand it because it doesn't happen to me. But there are many. I mean, doctors and they're making billions actually.
Yeah,
because there's a market out there for people that are trapped in their own. I don't want to say that because there are people out there that
I know what you
feel
saying.
like they're not who they were born as.
Yes.
But that's
and they want these changes.
Yeah, so to straighten it out, like, I'm not saying this is unique to doctors or unique to the people creating the solution. I'm saying this is also including the people who feel that way. I could wake up tomorrow and say, man, I feel like I'm skinny. I should be skinny. Like, no, nigga, you not. Like, that's just like, it's not reality. So in order for me to want to change that,
to make it happen.
Yeah, like, I know what to do to make that happen. You know what I'm saying? But, like, to just say, nah, like, I ain't a big dude. You know what I'm saying? And I also have an afro, by the way. Like, no.
I understand what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
I understand what he's saying too, but there's people out there that there's people out there that feel like that.
Yeah, I get it, and I'm saying they're absolutely fucking wrong. I get it.
Let me say one
because
thing.
I don't think that's any different than me saying, like, I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers are the greatest professional sports organization in the history of the world. It's 4 dudes right now at least. I know it's gonna tell me I'm fucking wrong. Yeah, that's how I feel though.
But let me say this. Just one thing is, I believe the world's people should just do whatever they want. As far as, like, that's how you feel. You a woman, you a man, whatever. Knock yourself out. As long as it doesn't impede on my life, happiness. I really don't care. Yeah. But at the same time, and I don't want to believe in anything, but it erases everything you said before that. I don't believe that's. I don't know how else to say it. But I also think that we're talking about the fringes of society. This is why I struggle so much with the initial question, because, like, I think we're literally talking like less than 3% of Americans. I think it's like 1% is transgender. Like, they've actually gone all the way through surgeries and stuff. You're talking gay is like 3%. A very small, and we are twisting society to accommodate a 3% So a man that feels like he's a woman wants to use a women's bathroom kind of thing. So we're going to go through this whole charade, these law. Remember the whole North Carolina thing that you brought up? Yeah. We're going to go through all of that to accommodate something that, never happens.
But remember my point.
Does happen,
but remember my point.
The people that
but remember my point.
And because they are affected, they want to they want to be accounted for. So even if they're 1%, 2%, 3%, 5%, they want to be accounted for in this society. Like, that doesn't seem
facts. And remember my point. There was a time when African Americans were 7% of the population, and we wanted things that were unheard of. My point is the civil rights movement.
It's not the same thing at all.
It's not the same. We're black. We're black. So of course we're gonna say it's not the same thing.
Explain.
But I'm telling you right now, to these communities, our fight and our struggle is the roadmap to their fight and their struggle.
Okay, it's still not. I get that. Yeah.
No, I'm willing to say it's not the same thing. Yeah. I'm only making a correlation to they use that blueprint to say, hey, for 200 years, blacks they didn't have rights. They couldn't do this. They couldn't do that, and they got their rights. Well, right. We can use that same roadmap to also be. I'm saying that.
The similarity is the seeking of equality.
Yeah, and I get that. And I get that. By no means I don't think any of us are saying that you don't have a right. You don't have the right to your equality, right? And do your thing.
Yeah.
But again, to go back to our idea that me and Gerald touched on, as far as people not being able to have confrontation, not being able to disagree, you also have to understand that with that right, same way with black folks, you have to understand that with that right comes confrontation and comes pushback, right? Especially when there's change involved, right? So with that, you also have to be willing to understand my right to say I don't agree with it, right? So
that right.
Right. Let me throw this in.
Definitely have that right.
Yeah. Let me throw this in. Example. Lil Duval, y'all probably remember this. Went on the Breakfast Club and say, if a man dressed up like a woman and he didn't know until they had sex, he would kill her. And there's this community out here. And then that's an extreme thing to say, like he'd kill. But he even went on to the Genuine, a guy, gay, tried to kiss Genuine, and he they going to attack Genuine. It's like we are in a place where it's like a power struggle, where you can't even say anything against gay people or transgender people, even if it's true or it's right. They have so much power that they are twisting a society around. It's kind of what I was alluding to about.
But Key, don't you think they're like protected classes? You know what I mean? Like, don't you think there's some classes in our society, groups of people that fall into exactly that same category, that you got to be careful of what you say about disabled people. You got to be careful of what you say about women. You got to be careful of what you say about black folk. You got to be careful what you say about gay transgenders.
Careful.
There will be a consequence.
They are exploiting the power.
There's a difference in there's a difference in what you say about and what you act upon, right? So, who was it? Tyrese that got in trouble for there was some chick on Instagram who he found out it was a dude. And he was like, nah, I'm good. I prefer not to, he's basically like, I prefer women. And they came after him. To me, he was like, no. He was like, I just prefer, what don't you get about it? To me, I don't find it offensive when a white dude says, nah, I don't date black girls. I don't find that offensive because I don't date white girls. You get what I'm saying? So I don't get the uproar over it.
There's a large segment out there that would be offended by that statement.
And that's what I'm saying. But it's the small vocal.
That's what I was about to say.
That creates the uproar, right? And I know y'all gonna hate me for this. Yeah, and I know y'all gonna hate me for this. But I read this article once, and it was basically talking about the the small percentage of NBA fans who think Kobe is the greatest basketball player of all time. He was just saying it's a small segment of basketball fans, but they're so vocal that it makes it appear that it's more than they are, right?
They ride around with paint in their cars, white paint in their cars.
Yeah. But I say that to say this, it's always the vocal minority who are gonna like make themselves seem like they're so loud that it appears that it's more than they are, right? And so it's not the people who aren't offended by it; it's the people who are offended, who, although they may be small in numbers, they're huge in like
power. If they own a movie studio,
influence,
or if they own a media company, you know what I'm saying? They can really,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I just would say that I think that minority of overreactors is in all of those protected classes.
Yeah,
absolutely. 100%.
It's nothing particular about any of them. They're just there's people who overreact, and you just sit back and like, why did you catch feelings on that? What's the big deal?
Yep.
Yeah, but there's yeah, and I agree. Yeah, and
I get offended really when people try to compare the gays went through what blacks went through, because we got a real separate thing, and it's like one has I don't even want to go into it, but it's not the same. It's not the same, and I'll leave that at that.
I've long said it's not the same. Yeah. I've long said it's the same. Yeah. But I've talked to members and leaders in that group that often compare, and we get to these debates about what is and is not the same. But I've heard that argument before, and I'm sure you guys have too.
Sure, of course.
But
definitely.
Again, to each his own. Live and let live.
Yeah, man.
Like I don't. Yeah. But at the same time, if something's not for me, live and let live. Like, why does it offend you that if it's not for me? You get what I'm saying? So it goes both ways, right?
And I would be highly
the world would be offended.
I would be highly upset if I found out my son was that way. I'm sitting there. I would be I don't know how I would deal with that. You know what I mean? But, so I'm being honest. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's...
Well, I mean, you find a way to love them anyway.
And my son might even be listening. But there was a time where it did cross my mind, honestly, when he was younger. And, maybe just because of my exposure to this particular subject, but it didn't bother me one way or the other.
Shit.
Real talk.
Well, you better man than me, I guess.
I don't think it's...
I texted you that last week.
I don't think it's... I don't
know.
No. Like I'll never say what I'll never do until it happens, right? So, but that thoughts happen to me with of course your kid's gonna do something. Yeah, there's been thoughts in my thought crosses your mind with your own kids, with kids in your family, kids you see. But I don't. Knowing the man you are, Keyonne, I think at the end of the day, like you may have like some shit to work through with it if that happens. But I don't,
He gonna find a way to love.
Yeah, exactly. That's
of course.
Just in you.
Yeah. I ain't say what I do, and I'm not. I just say I'll be upset. I would not be happy with that.
Yeah. And that shit'll pass too.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, man, if my kids ain't
that's deep, gentlemen.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if my kids ain't serial killers and dope dealers, I'm good, man. Like all shit considered, like it could be a lot worse shit they can be doing than loving somebody you don't approve of.
Could be worse, could be better too. I mean, we could always shoot. I can shoot at the rocks. I can shoot for the sky. He ain't a killer. He ain't a drug addict. I mean, that's kind of like my standards higher than that.
But that's what I'm like. I don't think like.
I know. I know what you say.
In that situation, like comparing like whether your kid's gay or not, I don't think that's a better or worse situation. It's just different.
Shit. Depends on who you ask.
But that's because it's coming from a straight man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So, from your perspective, but from his perspective, and sorry, kid. We talking about you like you're already there, but nah, like hypothetically speaking, like from a gay person's perspective, it's not a better situation. You get what I'm saying? So they're looking from a different perspective. So I don't think it's better or worse. It's just different, and it's something you're not used to. But at the end of the day, like
you'd get used to it.
Yeah, but I think like that in comparison to like who they choose to love in comparison to them being a serial killer, that's absolutely a better or worse situation. You get what I'm saying? Like there's no
I would agree.
About that at all.
I would agree.
You know.
So you're saying Jeffrey Dahmer like the scum of the earth then?
Like he was a serial killer? Well, he
yeah, niggas just kill niggas for no reason. Yeah, I would say that.
But yeah, this goes without saying.
I wasn't expecting a serious answer to that question. I was just,
yeah. But yeah, man, I don't mean, you know, it is like at the end of the day. I mean, I think we would all come to the conclusion that, man, my kids are healthy, they're good. I might not agree with what they doing, but that's neither here nor there. I love my kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like at that level. But then like, you know, if I turn on the news and this dude got severed heads and eating chicken and like eating people like they chicken, then I'm like, yeah, this nigga's crazy. I can't love him no more. Like there's a line. You know what I'm saying? So.
And even then, Jeffrey Dahmer's mom was in court like, not my baby.
Exactly. Damn right. She was
not my baby.
Yeah.
So, hey, can we make this the question of the week for next week, right? Here's a question I asked my homeboys last time we went out for dinner. What, when it comes to relationships, what act or acts, what's on your list in terms of a deal breaker, cross the line? If this person does this, I can't rock with you no more.
Are we talking family or friends?
Anybody.
Relation. Okay, facts.
To me, it's different. It's different.
Well,
I have dealt.
What's on that list that everybody?
Yeah.
Anybody does
absolute deal breakers. Okay.
All
right.
What's that? Word. It might only be one thing. It might be four things. But what's that? Yeah. What's that?
Wow.
I'm with that.
Mine's easy. All right,
cool.
We'll save it for next week.
I will.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, on some trivia. Keyonne, you ready? Are you still putting together?
Yes, I am.
Oh, shit.
That's a good question, man. What's up?
All right.
What you say? Shit? Oh, shit, because I'm ready?
Man, you ready, man. You
I actually worked on this.
Can I just say that was a great segment, guys? That was a great segment. Yeah.
It was. That was
I'm feeling that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you like talking about gays, huh?
Man,
all right.
You don't say that word like Trump said the black.
Okay.
Like talk about the gays.
You know what I'm saying? Like the blacks have the lowest unemployment. So like, come on, man. And that was my Donald Trump impression, folks. So,
right.
Yo, the way he said Omarosa helped him out with the blacks.
Yeah, like that's like he said the gays. Come on, man. Money likes talking about the gays. Like, man, come on, man. Captain Kennedy, man.
It came out so naturally. It felt so natural to say.
Come on, Archie Bunker. Let me see some trivia.
Is Pooh you here? Because that'll be dependent upon. All right, Pooh's gone. So we got us three, and let me see, 3. I'm trying to see who. 3 is 12. Okay, so I'm gonna go do 4 sections instead of 5, since it's just 3 of us. We can go 5 rounds. It's gonna be Jeopardy style again, and categories are college coaches, NBA coaches, NFL coaches, and current events. Okay. You know, same thing. 10, 20, 30 points.
College can be any sport.
Yeah, it's college coaches.
All right.
NBA coaches, NFL coaches, and current events.
Okay.
Did you take off religion to keep me from getting the win?
That's actually the 5th section.
Ride with it. We actually ahead of schedule this time. So
okay, well, I'll be 5. So that's so we go 5 rounds. 3, because it's 3, y'all. 3, 5. Yeah. Right. So it's 50 questions. All right. So That's the fifth section, the book of Genesis.
Okay.
All right. So Gerald won last week. Gerald, go first.
Let's rock out with that book of Genesis.
For what?
20.
20. Who is the grandson of Abraham through whom the 12 tribes of Israel descend?
Jacob.
All right, good one. I was about to give you the spiel about how I got all of these right, but that was a good one. That is correct, Jacob. Next I got Al. Al, you up?
You know Al won here last week.
Let me go.
I got it in order on my paper, man. I'm just so I don't mess myself up.
I always happen to be last when you do that. But yeah.
Well, you go first.
Let me go NFL coaches for 20.
NFL coaches for 20. These might be a little hard, but he only coached for 7 years, but won 5 championships during that run, which includes 2 Super Bowl titles. Let me read it again. Oh, you are correct. Okay. Right. Did you pull that? Did you
James Hart. Who he say?
Vincent Lombardi. He said James.
Oh,
you sure about that now? You was not sure.
I wasn't sure, but you said included 2 Super Bowls.
Okay.
And so that gave me maybe he won a world championship that wasn't a Super Bowl. I knew who won the first 2 Super Bowls. It was Green Bay. So just
all right, you got it. All right, Jay, you.
All right, let me go NFL coaches for 30.
He is only one of 2 head coaches to win both in college football as a national championship and a Super Bowl. In college, he had teams that rushed for 472 yards per game in a season, and another team that scored over 5. You are correct. That was kind of a layup, right? All them points.
I mean, I knew it. Well, when you said one of 2 that won both, I knew it was either one of 2 people. So
okay. All right, Gerald. So right now at the end of the first round, Jay is in front, and Gerald and Al top for 20. Top for second at 20. Gerald, you up?
Well, give me Genesis for 30 then.
Genesis for 30. Hold on. Okay, got it. Who wrote the book of Genesis?
Is that a trick?
No. Who is said to have wrote the book of Genesis? The Bible historians that believe that crap. They say wrote it.
Outside of the people that say Genesis has a multitude of writers,
yeah.
I'm gonna go with
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Let me go with Abraham.
You are incorrect. It is Moses, brother. Negative 30.
I knew that one. Damn, yeah. Gerald.
So that just took you down, Gerald. Al, you up?
Let me go NBA coaches for 20.
He was a great coach, but as GM, he hired the first African American head coach ever in the four major North American professional sports teams.
Oh, say that again now. He was a
great coach, but as GM, he hired the first African American head coach ever in the 4 major North American professional sports teams.
Ooh, read all that.
That is correct. And for laughs and giggles, yeah, you got it. All right, that's what I'm going to ask next. All right. So Bill Russell was the first, which I didn't know that till tonight. He was the first
and he was black head coach. Player coach.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
He was.
All right, Jay, you up?
Me college coaches for 20.
His high school teams lost only 10 games in 11 seasons. His Ohio State Buckeyes won their first national title in 1942, and his teams reached the league championship game in each of his first 10 seasons, winning 7 of them.
42.
7. You want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start. His high school teams lost only 10 games in 11 seasons. His Ohio State Buckeyes won their first national title in 1942, and his teams reached the league championship game in each of his first 10 seasons, winning 7 of them. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Woody Hayes. I don't know.
Incorrect. It's Paul Brown.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
Gerald, did you know?
I did.
Okay. All right, Gerald, you up?
Let me close out.
Let me say this. End of the second quarter or second half or whatever, Al is in first place with 40, Jay's 10, and Gerald's negative 10. So Gerald, you up?
Let me close out Genesis for 10.
How many days did it take for God to create the heavens and earth, according to Genesis?
6.
Correct. I actually got that wrong and put 7. But trick question. Yeah. All right, Al, you up?
What's left?
Was that a double point or just 10
No,
points?
this is 10. We
Okay.
going 5 rounds tonight.
All right, true.
What's left? What's left?
What's left is current events nobody's touched, NFL coaches for 10, NBA 10 and 30, and college coaches 10 and 30.
Let me take NFL coaches for 10.
He was named Sportsman of the Year in 1993. He reached 6 Super Bowls, winning 2. I'll read it again. He was named Sportsman of the Year in 1993. He reached 6 Super Bowls, winning 2.
Wow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Joe Gibbs?
Incorrect. This would be Don Shula.
Wow.
If I gave any more information, it would have gave it away.
No.
So, Jay, you up?
NBA coaches for 30.
As the longest tenured coach with the same team in all 4 major professional sports, he has a career record of 1,197 wins, 541 losses, and a win percentage of .689.
Hold on, repeat that.
As the longest tenured coach with the same team in all 4 major professional sports, he has a career record.
Greg Popovich.
You are correct. Greg Popovich for 30. Yeah, he's been coaching since like 93 or something like that. Or something crazy, yeah.
This will be his 20th year, I think, right?
Yeah, 23 years actually. I think tonight, yeah. So, yeah. Gerald, you up?
What's out there?
Oh, yeah. We ended the third quarter. Jay is in front at 40, Al's at 30, and Gerald's at 0. You got current events, NBA coaches for 10, and college coaches 10 and 30.
Give me college coaches for 30.
This coach coached for 38 years and never had a losing season, compiling 1,098 wins and a winning percentage of .841, 84%.
What sport did he coach?
You said college, right? This college coach for 38 years and never had a losing season, compiling 1,098 wins and a winning percentage of 84%.
Good grief. Football,
10,
basketball?
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
John Wooden.
Incorrect. That's a nice
Stephen
guess, though.
Smith.
It's incorrect. It's Pat Summitt.
Oh, man.
I know girls basketball ain't really a sport, but I just threw it in here for laughs and giggles. So, Al, you up next?
Current events for 20.
The Trump administration reimposed sanctions on blank after pulling out of the agreement with that country earlier this year.
Iran.
Correct. These are layups. Y'all should have. I don't know why y'all scared of them. Jay, you up?
I ain't scared.
What's left?
Got current events, NBA coaches 10, and college coaches 10.
What's left in current events? The
10 and 30. 10 and 30.
Current events are 30.
All right, that's the last 30 on the board. Republican Congressman Chris Collins from this state said he won't seek re-election after being charged with insider trading. With that state. This is all. Republican Congressman Chris Collins from this state says he won't seek re-election after being charged with insider trading.
Yeah, Chris Collins, New York.
You are correct. All right. So as we enter the last round, double points. It's between Jay and Al. Gerald, you out. Jay's at 70.
I'm out.
I'm about to give the scores.
It's your boy Jesus now, Gerald.
Hey, Jesus can't save me tonight.
Jesus can't save you tonight.
Jay's at 70 points, Al's at 50 points, and Gerald's at negative 30. So, Gerald, you're up. These points are worth double.
All right. Well, is current events for 30 open?
Nah, it's no more 30s. It's 10 for current events, 10 NBA coaches, and 10 for college coaches.
Man, give me 10 for college coaches.
All right, which will actually be 20 points. And 20. Oh, you said 10 college coaches, right?
Yeah.
Okay. During his 36 years at this school, this coach racked up a then record 879 victories, 2 national titles, and 11 Final Four appearances. Charles Scott, the first black scholarship athlete at the school, happened during his tenure.
At the school.
Charles Scott.
Charles Scott.
Let me read it again.
No, I'm not. You know what? I'm gonna have to once again go with John Wooden.
Incorrect. It's Dean Smith.
Damn it! And he coached at my school.
Yeah. North Carolina. Yep. So Gerald, you finished the game negative 50. Al, you up.
Some Thomas-esque numbers.
NBA coaches. NBA coaches 10 and current events for 10.
I'll do current events.
Okay. Which Russian town suffered the infamous nuclear disaster in 1986?
I know.
Oh wow. I can't pronounce it.
Give me a shot.
Give me a countdown.
10.
Give me a countdown.
8, 7, 6.
Cherbonoff.
4.
Cherbonoff.
Yeah, I give it to you, man.
What?
He was close.
Yeah, it was close.
You gonna give it to him?
You said Cherbonoff. I mean, you know what he
He
tried.
said gerbil.
I didn't say gerbil.
It was. I know what he was trying to say. Chernobyl.
Chernobyl. Thank you.
Yeah, Matt Chernoff, man.
Yeah, and it's not really a current event, but I actually, yeah. But that's cool. We got it
Depends on
right.
your definition of current. I get
Thank you.
He said Cherokee Parks, man. Come on.
I hate Dean Smith.
Oh man, so
Tied now. Al at 70. So you
tied.
get it like
Win
you
with
win.
this one.
Lose. I mean, you get it wrong, you lose. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. In 24 seasons as a coach, only 3 of those were losing seasons. He had a 1,210 wins and a handful of NBA titles. He coached his first game as an assistant in 1979. 10. Oh, you may read it again?
Yeah.
Nah, he heard it.
And I gave everybody a chance to read it again. So, in 24 seasons as a coach, only 3 of those were losing seasons. He had 1,210 wins and a handful of NBA titles. He coached his first game as an assistant in 1979. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Pat Riley.
You are correct. Pat Riley.
Ooh, Laker Nation, baby.
Pulled it out.
Yeah.
What were you wrestling with?
Man, I'm not a fan.
I remember what threw me off was when you say he coached his first game as an assistant in 1979, and I knew he coached as an assistant with the Lakers before. I just didn't think it was that early. So that was the only hold up I had. But then I wasn't sure how many championships he had.
That's why I said handful. They would have gave it away if I. All right, Jay, you won 90-70 down the second, and Gerald -50.
Right back where I belong. Take that, Jesus.
And you skipped the Bibles altogether.
That's because Gerald, we sucking them all up. We're like, man.
I can't believe I got one wrong this week.
No. And the one Bible
although who wrote the book of Genesis is highly debated.
I don't know Abraham. I've never heard Abraham before. I think you just got it wrong.
Oh yeah, okay, I got it wrong.
That's the first time I heard Abraham.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's funny though. The only Bible question I've known in 3 weeks, you got it right. You got it wrong. Wow. Thank you. All right, Keyonne, you hosted, man. Pardon shot. What you got for me?
Real quick. So I'm listening to a radio show this week. I cannot remember my man's name. He's very good show. And damn, Umar Johnson called in, and so dude asked him, how's he doing and everything. He's telling, going on his normal thing. I forget the man's name.
Okay.
He comes on at he goes off at 1:00 on WAAOK. I cannot remember his name. But he's a very good show. Community guy. Anyway, so Umar Johnson calls into the show. It's an Atlanta show. And, like I said, talking my stuff. So the guy asked him, so, Umar, what's going on with your school? And he says, well, we down to 4 locations. And, mind you, this has been 4 locations for the past year or so. But anyway, we were down to 4 locations, 1 in Philadelphia, and I forgot what the other 3 that he named. He said, but the problem I keep running.
Akron. I promise school. That's what we're going to do.
I'm going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to get that. But he said that every time the school finds out he's on the other end, the deal falls through. And then out of the blue, he says, I want to clear up one misconception, though. People saying LeBron built a school. LeBron didn't build a school. That school's owned by the state of Ohio. And he doesn't really own that school. He may have put up the money, but the state of Ohio owns that school. See, what I'm trying to do is build my own school. Then he went on talking about the school. The reason why I bring this up is no one talked about LeBron James when the man asked how your school is doing, but he got to find a way to kick LeBron James in his thighs some kind of way to kind of prop himself up. Like what he did ain't wasn't that great and whatever. Dude has a serious short man complex, and I do not understand it. But why can't you just let LeBron be great, doing whatever he's doing, however he's doing it? Why you got to bring up? It reminds me of who's the best basketball player, Jordan or LeBron, and Kobe jumps in. Well, I got 5 rings. It's just weird. That's my parting shot.
Yeah, good old Umar. Oh man, Gerald, what you got for me?
Oh man, hey, it's been another great week. Once again, thank the Defy Life crew for all their hard work this week, and we had another amazing week. Part of the shot is just, if you're not messing with Defy Life, what is your life about?
You heard it. All right. What you got for me?
My parting shot is to the conspiracy theorists that hang out in black barbershops. Shout out to y'all, because I was getting my hair cut recently, and I'm tilted back. Dude is got the razor giving me a little shave, and I'm listening to the barber next to me talk about how the Falcons suck, and I was just agreeing with him and everything. And next thing I know, another barber is talking to a young dude and talking about how in this country, if you're a black man, you're trying to go for something, they'll always bring you down. And he's like, so back in the day, he's schooling this youngin. So he's like, back in the day, Bill Cosby was trying to buy NBC.
No.
You see what has happened to him, which that ain't nothing crazy. He's like, but what's so crazy? It ain't just him, because everybody that was on it with him, that was trying to buy it with him, they took them all down. So it was him, it was Michael Jackson, it was Mike Tyson, it was Prince, it was Tupac, it was Suge Knight.
Damn.
He was listing all these people. They were all trying to buy NBC, and as you see, they've all even had OJ Simpson on the list. And as you see, all of them have had bad things happen to them since they wanted to buy NBC. And I'm just sitting here like,
Wow.
I've even heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Wow.
So shout out to the conspiracy theorists in black barbershops. We need y'all, man.
Wow.
We keep a conspiracy too.
Was Dwayne from accounting at Pepsi trying to buy NBC? Because he had a bag. He got fired last year. So I don't think he might have been in on that with them. Damn, Dwayne.
He probably thought HR was on his side.
Yeah, probably so. Oh, man. Oh, man, my parting shot is to GOP legislature candidate Melissa Howard from Florida. Did y'all see this chick?
I did not.
Yo, okay. So she's running for the legislature in Florida, and word gets out that she doesn't have a college degree. And first of all, you don't have to have a degree to run for legislature in Florida, but it's kind of one of them lies. She's like, fuck it, I'm taking it to my grave. I'm running with this shit, right? So she first, rails against the rumors that she doesn't have a degree. Then when people pressed harder, they she takes a picture with her on social media with her on her website with her supposed degree from the University of Miami, Ohio. Staffers from the University of Miami, Ohio see this picture and realize that she's got a fucking major that's not even offered at the school on her diploma. So they call the press and out her. And, of course, she pretty much has to come clean at that point. And she says, her words, can't make this stuff up. She says, it was a mistake for me to say that I had a diploma and when I really didn't. And her platform was leading by example, right? That was her platform. And so she said it was a mistake, not a lie, a mistake that she told people she had a degree when she didn't. And from this point on, she's going to be leading by example. Gotta love it. Like, yeah, man. So shout out to you, Melissa Howard. If only you had found a way to continue taking this lie. I want to see how far you could have taken it. But so
wow, that's crazy.
Screw you, Miami University of Ohio, because I would have loved to see how far she was taking this shit. But yeah, so just crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought like maybe she thought she took that picture with a Polaroid and wasn't nobody gonna see the shit.
Oh
Put it
God,
on the internet. Like, it ain't on your mama's refrigerator. Like, people gonna see that shit.
Big deal, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Dumb.
Yeah. Thomas Stevens.
She would have fit right in, though.
Just kidding. Yeah, exactly. Man. So guessing Thomas Stevens ain't got nothing for us tonight. I don't know. Maybe he's watching Power. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he'll show up around in another 45 minutes. But we won't be here.
No.
We won't be here.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been great.
And let me jump in. One more thing.
Yeah.
The guy from my I was talking about was named Rashad Ritchie. That's
okay.
Rashad
Rich.
I've heard of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, another great show, guys.
Only Pooh can jump on the podcast for 3 minutes and then jump off.
Yeah. He really had me question, like, wasn't I just talking to this dude? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he was here. He was here for a second.
His kids must hate him. Like, what, daddy just here? What happened to daddy? I don't know. He'll be back Tuesday. He want to get bread.
He out.
Yeah. I don't know. We love you, Thomas. But yeah, man. Couple things, just want to thank everyone again, like Gerald said, for another great week on Defy Life. Defy Life Gear is here. We are now NFL Shop affiliates. We're Amazon affiliates, so definitely go out and support us on Patreon. You know where to find us, all listening platforms. Thanks for the growth. We appreciate everyone out there. We will talk to you again next week. Until then, Defy Life.
Defy Life.
Defy Life.
Defy Life.